Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So, y'all, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. Yeah, I'm laughing at some of y'all already, just so y'all know. Y'all throwing me off. I'm laughing with a one person in particular. I'm gonna just say that one person in particular. But y'all, we are back with another episode of the Roger Report Live, and it's about to be another go. It's about to be another go, because I mean that's all I'm gonna do over here. My channel is not for content that ain't great. Okay, that's what my channel is for. Maybe some other folks' channel, but that ain't what my channel was for. So y'all, we about to get into it. We're gonna deal with a concept that I believe is something that should be taken seriously as a concept. Okay, maybe most people wouldn't really think about it, but it should be taken seriously as a concept. We're gonna deal with women or professionals, which is safer for men to deal with, y'all. That's what we're dealing with. Women or professionals. All right, which is safer for men to deal with. But before we get into this, let me take a moment out to give shouts out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis, because, you know, y'all do make up the fam around here, and I appreciate you big time. I appreciate you big time. Also, shout out to all the people who hype me up every chance they get. I appreciate it big time. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream. You know, y'all help keep things active around here, and I appreciate it. Shout out to all the people who hit that like button. Y'all know all this stuff helps with the algorithm. It helps spread the Roger Report Live around, And we do it from there. We do it from there. And shout out to all the people who take the time out to go above and beyond and become a financial contributor to the stream. Because I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And I'm going to give a special shout out today to my main man, Yo from Florida, y'all. Yo from Florida. Man, I appreciate you big time. He's been a great supporter, been rocking with me for a good little minute. So shout out to him. Glad you've been around the time you've been around, and hope to continue to see you. Hope to continue to see you in the future. So shout out to Yo from Florida. Appreciate you big time, brother. Appreciate you big time. And that's real talk. All right. So he's our sponsor of today's stream. And let me give a couple words. Give a couple shout outs to some of the first people to check in, because when you started the show, it was always great to see that you have people waiting and ready to go. And I'm actually going to clear up something about who gets to go, who is first, y'all, okay? But the actual Highlander of today's stream, shout out to the Highlander of today's stream. Hi, my main man, Floyd Thompson, is in the building. Yay, he is the Highlander of today's stream. And I'm going to clear something up in a moment. But Floyd Thompson is the Highlander of today's stream. All right, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Shout out to my main man, Trail Bentley, coming through, representing as he always does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Also, my main man, Mr. Suge to you, representing for the Pit Crew. Shout out to the Pit Crew. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. That's Mr. Suge to you. That is J Dub. And that is Chef Mike's Roundtable as the Pitmaster. Appreciate all y'all. Appreciate all y'all. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? The Great Black Reset is in the building. My main man, Shark Sims. I'm going to say he at the head of the cool table today. Just for the day. But he at the head of the cool table today. Glad to see you, brother. Glad to see you. Shout out to Trust. Hey, Trust. Love you. Appreciate you. Glad to see you here. The darling of the channel is in the building. We always glad to have her here. Jerome Payne, what's up, my brother? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Aja Bay, what's happening? What's happening? Glad to have you here. Emerald Ed 72, what's up? What's up? Last Zulu is in the building. Good to see you. Good to see you. Michael Watson is here. Snobby brother is checking in. And appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. And Emerald, I got Emerald Ed 72. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all, our main man, Snobby brother, okay? He's checking in. With the first super chat of the day, he's saying chewing a zen and listening hot to her. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you big time. I appreciate you big time. Okay, you definitely give some interesting super chats sometimes, and you definitely have some interesting names. That's for sure. But shout out to you, Snobby brother. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. And y'all, well, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna say something a little bit later about some other money that came through yesterday. I'm gonna wait a little while, but then I'm gonna shout him out because it came in like at the end of the show, so I didn't get a chance to say it on air. But I appreciate that quick response. I definitely do. I definitely do. Y'all, today we're gonna get into it, y'all. The women or professionals, man, which is safer to deal with. That's a very good question that men have to ask themselves. And I do believe there's some things that people gonna need to consider. And that's real talk. It's some stuff people gonna need to consider. All right. Y'all, it's totally normal for men to seek out women. Okay. It's part of our DNA. It's who we are. We do a whole lot of stuff to seek out women. All right. It's part of women's DNA to seek out attention from men. Okay. Now as she get older, she gets wiser. Then it starts to become specific men. Okay. A specific guy here or there. All right. But that's normal for a woman. Okay. That is normal for a woman. Just like it's normal for a man to go out trying to come up on a chick, it's normal for the chick to try to make sure she's available for the right man. Those are normal things, okay? So we don't want to pretend like this ain't normal. All right, we don't want to do that. Now, we are in 2026 where a lot of women start doing a bunch of abnormal stuff. Okay, a lot of women start doing some abnormal stuff. And honestly, if you pay attention to Black women's culture, a lot of abnormal stuff is becoming normal, and a lot of normal stuff is now becoming abnormal just based off the numbers. Okay, just based off the numbers. See, back in the day, let's keep it real. Back in the day, people wasn't, being a hoe was something you hid. Okay. Now, what do I mean by hoe, y'all? Women who act like prostitutes but try to present themselves as women. Okay. They act like prostitutes, but they don't want to be considered a prostitute. They present themselves as respectable women. At least they attempt to. Okay, they attempt to. All right, now you have a lot of women at this point that do want money for sex. Now, it's not bad for a woman that wants money. Okay, back in the day, men understood they was going to be the person with the money, and the woman would take care of the other things. Why? Because women didn't work outside of the home. And I do want to remind people that a lot of these ideas, now we in America, a lot of these ideas come from places that were not America. Okay, these are ideas that people had before they even got over here. Okay. Well, for America to be the America that it is, I'll say that. Okay, I'll say that. All right, because there was a time when women didn't work outside the home. It just wasn't normal because men can do all these different things that women didn't do. So imagine you in a world where you go into a hospital of some kind, but every nurse is a man. Now that would be abnormal now to think about, male nurses. A lot of times you can still catch a male nurse here or there, but a lot of guys are just going past that into being a doctor. Okay. The guys that are, in the medical field, a lot of them are really going to have to be a doctor. Now there are some guys who just kind of stopped and they say, well, I'm gonna stay at this nursing spot because this is kind of a sweet spot to a certain degree, and I don't want to keep going because it's a lot of hard work you have to do to be a doctor. All right. Now, back in the day, you think, man, if I become a doctor, I'm gonna get almost my pick of the litter when it comes to women, and I wouldn't really have to deal with hoes. But it's a lot of hoes out here nowadays, y'all. It's a lot of hoes. Now, of course, I put two very interesting links in the description, y'all. There's two very interesting links in the description. I'm assuming a lot of y'all done had the time to look at it. Now, the link, shout out to Passport OG. I put a link in the description from him that I just happened to see yesterday, and I was like, man, it'll go great with today's show. So let me stick this in here real quick. So shout out to Passport OG, real talk. And shout out to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, who was also in the video. So I appreciate that. It was another gentleman in the video. I'm not familiar who that gentleman is, but shout out to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. So they was having an interesting discussion. You saw some clips that Passport OG put together. You could see some crazy thinking, y'all. Now, I think it's time for Black men to really ask themselves, which one is the better deal? And I think this is where a lot of women, really haven't paid enough attention to what's actually going on. All right, now, you saw some random women, talk about different things and talk about their ideas of what a man is supposed to do for them. All right? And y'all, I get it. I understand a woman begging. That is how they get things in the world. Okay? Women use words to manipulate situations so they can get what they want. This is not a negative thing. It's just a thing. Now, some of them will use it in a positive fashion. Some of them will use it in a negative fashion. But that's what women do. They use their words to manipulate men so they can get the outcomes that they want. Just is what it is. Now, a lot of women today also, they decide to use the box. They use their box to manipulate men to get the outcomes that they want. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. This is just what women do. Okay? Every good woman who had a good husband, who had a good life, raised good children, okay, good part of society, she used her mouth and her box to get outcomes too. All right? A woman can use it one way to secure a husband, or she can do it another way and she can become a whore. All right? Shout out to all the whores out there. Yes, the women who actually tell the truth about what their purpose is. The women who say, well, yeah, I'm going to sell you some box. You can enjoy this box for a period of time, and then you pay me, and we gonna part ways. Gotta respect it. Why? Because they're honest. Those are actual whores, prostitutes, professionals, hookers. All right? Now, maybe there's some other terms for them. Well, yeah, technically there is some other terms for them. Okay, but I ain't gonna get into all that. Just want to establish who we talking about. A working prostitute is a woman who's telling you out front, look, man, I got some box for you. You can use this for a bit, pay me my fee, and we good. Now, we got hoes who like to use their box to get money out of men, because a woman is going to be looking to extract. And this is something we got to pay attention to, y'all. A woman is going to look to extract. Again, I'm not even saying this is a bad thing. Okay. Now, the issue with a lot of women today is they have not chosen, and I'm going to say chose. They haven't chose to be reciprocal. They want things to be kind of a one-way street. It was some very interesting things that was going on in that video, from Passport OG. You had a woman with a bunch of tattoos on the chest, right? You got a woman with a bunch of tattoos on her chest, and she talking about, you supposed to be able to see my worth. I shouldn't have to explain to you X, Y, and Z about why I'm worthy. You know what? I did see your worth. It's all over your chest. Okay, it's all over your chest. You're not worth much. You're worth basically nothing. Okay? Now, see, a lot of women talk about they need to know their worth, but a lot of women don't want to buy into what their worth actually is. The response you get from men allows women to see what their worth is. The reason she's not married, and that's an assumption, but I doubt I'm wrong. The reason she's not married and making a video like that with a bunch of tattoos on her chest is because a lot of men who've come across her don't see her as worth anything. So they just keep on going. Then there's a few guys who actually say something to her and mess with her a little bit. They don't want to be bothered with her long term either. Okay? Just is what it is. You got the men who just want to have sex with her because, hey, I see her, she look good. She doesn't, maybe you didn't even see everything. But once she took her clothes off, now you see all these tattoos on her chest. Okay, this is going to be a hit it and quit it. And that's it. That's your worth. Women try to manipulate men into thinking that they're worth more than what they actually are. When you come out with a bunch of tattoos, your worth is there. You're making it just quicker and easier for men to figure out what your worth actually is. Now, let's be realistic, y'all. Because there are some men who like women with tattoos. But now, I'm going to say, be realistic. What men do you hear talking about how they want a woman in a bunch of tattoos? What kind of men are those? Or some people may say, what caliber of men are the ones who want a woman with a bunch of tattoos? I mean, you can claim there's an exception to every rule. Maybe you can find some well-to-do man who would like a woman in tattoos. But for the most part, what kind of man do you see saying he wants a woman with a bunch of tattoos? It is what it is. Okay. Now, this is the thing. I'm just dealing with the women's worth. Now, some people may say, well, Roger, you kind of being buck. No, look, I didn't determine her worth. I'm just one guy. The fact that she's on the internet saying what she's saying makes it pretty evident she don't have a husband. Because women are very self-orientated. Even when they give messages, a lot of what they're going to say is just going to be about themselves. It's hard for them to do something like what I'm doing, where I speak about things that ain't just about me. It's hard for women to do that. Okay, they're very self-orientated. Matter of fact, the American culture pushes self-orientation too. But she already is naturally very self-orientated. So, it's hard for them to do anything other than stuff that they think has something to do with them. I ain't saying it's impossible, but it's hard for a lot of them. So, yeah, I get it. She's unmarried. She's got something to say because she believes she should have been married by now. She believes somebody should see her in a way that regardless of how wrong she is or how bad she is, they should have just took her on anyway. And you know what? You got a right to think nonsense. So this is America, y'all. You got a right to think about a bunch of nonsense. It is your right. And shout out to all my people listening from around the world. All right? Appreciate y'all. Okay? Now, you got women saying what men need to do. Now, this was alluded to, back in the day, there were a lot more people married. So you saw men doing certain things to protect their wives, okay, their children. It's a normal thing, okay? You have men who live in the same neighborhood. Well, Joe knows Tom. Tom and Joe both married, okay? They both have houses next to each other. They're friends. Tom will go over as a level of protection if necessary for Joe. But Joe would also go over as a level of protection for Tom if it became necessary. So yeah, there was you can understand women have an idea that men used to protect us. Okay? I can totally get that. Used to. Now the thing is it worth doing it today? Well, the thing is who you gonna do it for? Because let's keep it real. Most women ain't married, which means what? You're telling the world that you're not worth protecting. It is what it is, y'all. An unmarried woman is telling men that she's unworthy of protection. Now, ain't nobody got to like this, but it ain't going to change. It's not my rule. It just is what it is. Now, I do get it. In the black community, there's a lot of talking to boys and men about you have to protect no matter what. And so if you're wondering why black men will act a certain way and other groups of men don't act a certain way when it comes to women, we're told time and time again, since we're little bitty kids, that you got to protect women. So when we grow up, we will protect women that's unworthy of protection. You don't see this type of stuff happening amongst other people. Let's just be realistic, y'all. How many times you been scrolling on the internet, you see some woman get hit, but they're not black people. You know what I'm saying? It's some white woman out there. And I'm gonna use white as an all-encompassing term right now. So I'm saying every type of woman that ain't a black woman. And every type of man that ain't a black man. When you go on the internet and you see stuff, because stuff gets recorded. You see a woman acting crazy, somebody hits her. You know what I'm saying? A white guy hit the white woman. Do you see a bunch of white men jump up to protect that woman? No, that's not even normal. What you see is a bunch of people who look at the woman. Okay? When he hits her, maybe it makes a noise. But what you don't see is people jumping in. Okay? Every once in a while, you might see a guy say, hey, man, don't hit her. Not like he's going to challenge the man or fight the other man. Sometimes the man be like, man, you better mind your business. And what the other guy going to do? He going to mind his business. Why? Because he's not concerned with trying to fight some man about his woman. He ain't concerned. Hey, man, don't hit her. Man, mind your business. All right. It ain't because he's scared. He just don't care about that woman that much. He said something. The guy said, mind your business. He don't care enough to fight over some random hoe. Okay? It's not his woman. You know, she probably not married. And it didn't even happen when you have married men around. Well, the woman could have been married. But, you know, a lot of those guys, they just not going to get into it with another man about his woman. That's called respect. See, if I don't want another man being intrusive on what I'm doing with my woman, that means I can't be intrusive on other men about what they're doing with their women. It's actually called respect. Now, women will say, well, that's because they're a coward. How am I scared if I don't care enough about you to fight for you and you're nobody to me? How does it make me scared? You're not worth the trouble of doing anything for. Now, I'm going to say, hey, it is what it is, y'all. If you're a sister out here and you are unmarried, and I see something go down with you, man, that just ain't my business at the end of the day. You're not even a married woman, so what I care? All right? Now, I've told guys, and I see people about to get into it, I've told guys, like, hey, bro, police outside the window, watch yourself. Now, did I do that to protect the woman? No. I did that so the man will understand what his situation is, because don't let the cops see you hit her. I wasn't trying to save her. That's between them. I'm just letting the brother know, hey, bro, you know, 5-0 out there. Basically, don't get caught. Okay? Don't get caught. Now, some people say that's wrong. I don't see how it's wrong to look out for another brother. And black community, because a lot of us were taught a lot of nonsense, a lot of folks will hear this and say, no, Roger, you're supposed to be looking out for the woman. Why? Why would I look out for her? And the thing is, if you don't actually know why, don't worry about what I think. Worry about what you think. Do you actually know why I should look out for her? Because I don't think most people could even articulate it. Because when you're faced with that direct question, a lot of people, your mind's going to go into, you're mentally going to twiddle your thumbs because you really don't know why. If your response is because she's a woman, that means you don't know why. It's that simple at the end of the day. Now, see, there are reasons to protect women, but if you can't articulate it, that means you can't come up with one. And why protect the woman if someone can't even articulate why she should be protected? Now, I'm going to tell you one reason to protect the woman. One reason to protect the woman is because she's married. If I protect a man's wife, he will be grateful toward me. If we live amongst each other, he will protect mine. That's cool. We look out for each other. You know what? That's called being reciprocal. You know, everything's cool. But see, nowadays we got all these hoes running around and hoes, non-professional prostitutes, y'all. We got all these hoes running around trying to extract money from men without performing sexual favors. So we got hoes, not whores. We got hoes, unprofessional women trying to carry on like a prostitute. Now, let's think about this, y'all. What's safer in today's time? Should I deal with a prostitute or deal with a woman? Now, it's not men's desire to go do stuff with a bunch of prostitutes. That's not men's desire. And I'm not even saying it should be men's desire. I'm just looking at this as what is necessary in today's time. So let's think about this, y'all. A good prostitute, $100. All right, let's think about this. Good prostitute, $100. That's $100. You pay, you have your sex, you move on. You may see the same prostitute again. Okay, $100. Good prostitute. Okay, because I ain't saying it costs 100. I'm saying, some better ones that charge 100. All right. You have your sex, you move on. Now the average working man, he works a job of some kind. He gets paid every 2 weeks. Now I know there's some people out there that get paid every week, but most jobs pay every 2 weeks. So let's say you work 2 weeks, you get paid, you take $100, you buy yourself a prostitute, you get out what you need to get out. Boom, you go back to doing the stuff that you need to do. That's somewhat safe in comparison to the hoes we got available to us now. Hoes, again, women trying to extract things from men without sexual favors. That's what I'm meaning by hoes, y'all. All right. Now, let's keep it real. If women get bothered because you tell them straight up, look, man, I ain't really trying to do all this stuff with you because, she wants you to have a relationship with her. And a relationship can become far more expensive than dealing with a hoe. Let's be realistic about this, y'all. Prostitute, and I'm on the high side, $100. Woman, what she wants? She wants gifts. She wants favors. Y'all seen in the video, right? I'm not going to even go to the extreme part first because we saw a guy talking about, a woman wants him to help her get a car. Let's just slow down a little bit. Let's not even go to that extreme right now. Let's just talk about the one woman who mentioned, she mentioned bad breaks. Okay, let's deal with that, y'all. Let's deal with that. Just bad breaks. You got a woman. She need her breaks done. Now, what would a woman normally do when she needs her breaks done? She's gonna tell a man that she needs her breaks done. Now, let's be realistic about this. Now, let's say, you got your alley mechanic, right? Y'all know about the alley mechanics. Some mechanic who knows how to take care of cars, but he doesn't work at any particular garage or franchise or something like that. He's the quote unquote alley mechanic. He may work in an actual alley, he may work on the street, he may work in old lots, whatever the case is. But we just calling him the alley mechanic, right? She messed her brakes up. She needs some new rotors and she needs some brakes. Okay. So now what do? You go to the store looking for a good deal. Let's say you could get some rotors. Okay. Let's say you get a good deal on some rotors. You get you 4 new rotors, $30 a piece. All right. All right. But you're already at $120. Let's say you find a good deal on some brakes. Okay. Let's say somehow you get the rotors and the brakes. You ain't spent but $200. Okay. Rotors and the brakes. Now, if you're not the alley mechanic yourself, that means you pay somebody to do it. Let's say alley mechanic gonna give you a good deal. I'd do it for $50. So now you got 4 new rotors and brakes on her car. Cause y'all know how women gonna drive. They just gonna let it. They don't tell you the problem right away. They wait a good while to tell you the problem. Okay. So now you gotta put them on for $50. Now you done went and got rotors and brakes. Somehow you do this for just $200. So a total of $250. Now, what probably happened? You probably had to take her car to the guy who's gonna do the fixing. You probably had to go to the store and buy the brakes, buy the rotors, bring it back to the guy. You sitting over there waiting on him to get the car fixed. Now, see, if you leave, so now you leave, okay, cool. If you do something else, but then you got to come back to pick the car up and still bring it back to her. This is a lot of time and money. Now, if it was just a prostitute, you go to the spot, pay $100, and you gone. But a lot of women expect this is what a man's supposed to do. If I'm having a car problem, you're supposed to fix my car problem. Now, she's not going to tell you about her problem right away. She going to wait till it's real trouble. That's why you have That's why in the examples, I'm saying the brakes and the rotors need to be replaced. Because she just ain't going to have a problem with the brakes and just tell you. That ain't how the average woman's going to operate. She's going to tell you stuff at the last minute. You know? Now, why do they do that? Hey, it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. You can come with your own conclusion if you want to. I have my ideas about it, but it don't make no difference. The problem is you give me the problem when it's bigger than it was necessary. It's bigger than what it could have been had you brought it to me right away, but you didn't. Because a lot of black women, especially, just don't believe in a man. And they like seeking a man that they believe they have something on top of. So instead of just letting me know you got some bad brakes, you got to bring me the car talking about, yeah, man, it's been making all this noise and it's not stopping the way it's supposed to, blah, blah, this. So, and now, you know, we get the car looked at, it's in terrible condition. So now we need brakes and rotors. But if I was just with that prostitute, it's $100. It's 100, y'all. Do y'all $250 to get the brakes done? $100 for the lady. I mean, yeah, the prostitute, the whore. Oh, okay. Shout out to Mr. Suge to you. He said, I mean, really think about it. Okay. It costs $40 at 5 days a week. That's a grand total of $200. No emotional labor, no dates, no entertainment versus I guess Mr. Suge to you is doing the math, y'all. He's doing the math. And I'm just saying. All right. Now, I'm not even saying men want a bunch of prostitutes out here. But I would think that a woman should feel far more valuable than a prostitute. But if you look at some of the ladies in the video and you just look at how women are operating in general, are they more valuable than the prostitute? Now, there's a gentleman. I'm going to mention his name because I use a clip of him talking. I know the guy's name is Kev on Stage, you know. Now, as far as I know about him, very blue pill type person. A lot of people say about him if you heard him talk. Very blue pill type person. But that doesn't make a difference. He's talking about his wife. He's saying that his wife is basically down with him. His wife pays attention to the stuff that he brings to her. His wife does calculations, try to figure out what's going to be best for him and their family. His wife is on his team. His wife wouldn't be able to peep different things out about his situation unless she actually paid attention to a man, respected her man, and saw him as a leader, and she tried to do things to help him. Now, you saw all those different women. Did they appear like they would do like the wife of that Kev on Stage guy? He said, we trying to make deals. We trying to figure out how to get the best stuff popping off. We trying to be successful. What were those other women focused on? How can I extract from the man? I'm not worried about us. I just want to extract for me. So if you have a woman that wants to extract purely so she can benefit from the extraction, and then you have a prostitute who also wants to extract purely for herself, but the prostitute is willing to have sex for the money. Now, somebody may say, well, women have sex too. Okay, let's be realistic about women having sex. A lot of women, as soon as they move in with a guy, or now I'm going to say a little while after they move in with a guy. I ain't going to say as soon as. A little while after they move in with a guy, whether they are married or not, what happens? She stops having sex with the man on a regular basis. All right. They've been living together for a little while. Now she stops having sex with him on a regular basis. Now, again, average man gonna work a job. He gonna get paid every 2 weeks. He can take $100 out. pay $100, have sex with a woman, and he ain't gonna see, and he's not gonna even attempt to see her for another 2 weeks. He just doing it on payday. Okay, he doing it on payday. Now let's think about the woman a man lives with. Well, she has different ideas. She believes a man needs to do this, this, that, and that. So are you going to spend only $100 every 2 weeks in comparison to the woman that lives with you? Baby, we don't go out enough. What you mean? We don't have enough dates. Okay, so you being a good guy. All right, baby, let's make sure we do a date night at least once a month. Cool. How much is that date night gonna cost a man? Okay, let's think about this, y'all. How much is that date night gonna cost a man? We're gonna do a date night once a month. She want to go to a nice location though. Okay, she want to do something worth telling her friends about. How much is that one date night? It's only once a month. See, I'm not even trying to exaggerate it. Just once a month you have a date night. Okay. How much is that one day gonna cost you, y'all? What y'all think? Okay. What y'all think? All right. Shout out to Superstar J Quick. He said at least a deuce, okay? Shout out to the Great Black Reset. He said 200 to 300. Okay, cool, y'all. I'm gonna meet in the middle. Let's say the date night just gonna be 250. The date night just 250. We once a month. We out here. We outside, as they say. Shout out to Mr. Suge to you. He say 500 if it's once a month. I believe personally that's a more realistic number because she gonna want to do this, she gonna do that. We gonna have to pay some valet. Got to go take her to a nice meal. It's an event of the month. I think that's more likely, but I'm gonna just say 250 just to keep it smooth. Just to keep it smooth, y'all. We just gonna go with the 250, even though 500 sounds reasonable because it's just once a month. All right. You do 250. And shout out to Great Black Reset. Exact. Minus gas, clothing, shopping. Well, see, this the thing, y'all. It's date night. If you're doing date night on a regular basis, she got to get some new digs every once in a while. Okay. Now, let's keep it real. Some women, they going to want a new outfit every date night. Okay. And let's be reasonable. She can't have a new fit every day night. Maybe she gets an outfit every 3 date nights. So every quarter, that's a new outfit. Every quarter, that's a new outfit. All right. So now you got to get an outfit every quarter because she ain't going to wear the same thing time and time again. That ain't going to happen. Okay. She's trying to be reasonable. Every quarter, she going to get an outfit. You know what she's probably going to want to do? Because if you're dealing with a sister, she probably going to want her hair done. How much is hair? I must be reasonable and say $200 for the hair. All right. So we put $200 for the hair. We got $250 on the event. Okay. All right. Now, if it's around that quarter, I don't know what she gonna spend on the outfit. Depending upon where she goes, what maybe 50 to, and I don't want to be extreme. Let's just say somewhere between 50 to 150 she gonna spend on a new outfit. Because I do know that women's clothes are cheap. A lot of their clothes are cheaper than what I expected. I saw women you can buy an outfit for like $25. But that's neither here nor there. Let's just say anywhere between 50 and 150. So I'm gonna do $100 on the clothes. I'm trying to be reasonable, y'all. 200 for the hair, $100 for the clothes, $250 for the event. It's date night. Okay, it's only once a month. It's only once a month. So if you do 100 for if you let's do this. 200 for the 250 for the date itself. $200 for the hair. Now you get to do that a couple times. So you're only at 450. Now once a quarter, you got to come up with the extra money because you need the new outfit. So we only gonna do $100 for the new outfit. All right. So we got 250 for the event, 200 for the hair, $100 for the outfit. Whoa, this is getting expensive. But it's only once a quarter she need that new outfit. Are you beating that $100 every 2 weeks? Okay. Are you beating that $100 deal every 2 weeks? And I'm gonna say this, y'all, because it ain't just about the $100, okay, that you can pay the prostitute and then move on and stay focused on different things that you need to focus on. Is the woman giving you value? See, Kev on stage talked about the value his wife gave. When you hear the women talking like such as some of the examples that was in the video, do you hear women who can help a man make money? Or do you hear women that have an idea that I need to help him lose money? You tell me. Because if the type of woman that would end up being a wife, the non-prostitute, the non-professional, because I'm not saying we gonna marry those. I mean, that's what they do. We gonna leave them over there. So let's talk about the non-professional. What did all those other women in this video, who I have no idea if any of them are actual prostitutes. I'm not even implying that any of them were actual prostitutes. But are you gonna get a better deal with them, or do you get a better deal with the prostitute? Because if you're gonna bring value to my life, now we talking. But them women didn't sound like they had any value to bring. I'm just saying. They didn't sound like they had any value to bring. Now I'm gonna read these super chats, and then I'm gonna turn the mic over to Bronk because he's here. And look, I got another guest coming up, but let me read these super chats first. Shout out to Bruce on Wayne. He said, Roger, read my stuff. Cause y'all know I ain't gonna curse. But he says, read my stuff, Roger. Hashtag all my hoes demonetized. Hashtag NDA. Hashtag Destiny lives on. Hashtag pay for the buns. Okay, brother. Okay, we gonna read your stuff. What did you stick in there? Was it above this or after this? Okay. I guess this is what you mean. Bruce Owen says $2 $2,000 for the weekend. That's what he's saying. $2,000 for the weekend. You know what? There are some people who are gonna have date nights that are gonna spend that type of money. And we got to be real about this, especially if it's just once a month. That type of money can happen. Or even if they just want something bigger once a quarter, maybe they do something a little less, but then once a quarter, they want something kind of big, where then you spend the $2,000. See, it's gonna add up either way. Heck, if you only do the quote unquote big date once a year, where you only spend the $2,000, it's still gonna add up. Shout out to Jerome Payne. He said a woman with a list of demands sound like a terrorist to me, Ross. Y'all know, I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'm gonna turn the mic over to these other gentlemen. I was thinking about some stuff, y'all. I was thinking biblical, and to my understanding, from a biblical perspective, the two things that you're gonna really have to struggle with in life, okay, where you are from a spiritual standpoint is one thing. Well, hold on. Shout out to Bruce on Wayne. He said the real message is in the chat, Roger. So it wasn't about the $2,000 a month. Okay, I'm assuming you now saying this wasn't about the one about the $2,000 a month. So now I'm looking above that super chat to see if I see something. So okay, boom. I see this. He says glass half full of cum and champagne with the champagne with yam dipping in the glass. $200, $1,000 for the weekend. hubby ain't gotta know, and an NDA to wash the taste away. All right, so now he talk about some corrupt stuff. He talk about some corrupt. Well, look, we're not talking about. I'm gonna say extracurriculars. We talking about what, even though some people gonna have to factor that in, but we're not talking about the extracurriculars. Just the amount for the man and his wife, what type of money he's spending, and what type of deal he's getting. You know, but yes, some people will have to consider those things too. So I'm not gonna say that ain't a real thing. Okay. So now, like I said, I was thinking something. I was thinking biblical about what I kind of pick up the Bible stressing the two things you're really gonna have to battle with. And women wasn't one of them. It was like your spirituality, your relationship with the Lord. You know, it's gonna be a battle because of how the world operates. And the other one was money, you know. And I do think if we start looking at the money a little bit different, it's gonna help you put the women exactly where they need to be. Okay, it's gonna put the women exactly where they need to be. But let me turn it over to Bronk, and then we're gonna give it to Jerome in the house right after him. Bronk, you got it, my brother.
All right, what up, Roger? What up, chat? What up, Shark? Man, this is a great topic, man. Like, I was literally talking about this stuff with my woman yesterday and a little bit this morning, and it's crazy that you just made this show, man. But you're spot on. Like, when I think about this myself, that's the perspective that I look at it from. What is more economically feasible for me to do as a man? Okay, I understand the realities of the world that I live in well enough to know that here in the West, most women that you're going to be dealing with are actually hoes, but they're just closeted hoes. They're really out there prostituting themselves, but they're not really advertising themselves as prostitutes. So, me as a man, if I'm living in this society that most of the women that I'm coming across, especially within my group, within my racial group, are going to be hoes, then I have to ask myself, well, do I want to, pay these hoes do I want to pay closet hoes, or do I want to pay actual prostitutes who telling me that they prostitutes, listed the dollar amount for their services, and I don't have to worry about half of the shit that I would have to worry about dealing with a closet hoe. So that's what it really comes down to, is a simple math problem for me. Do I take the risk of possibly being the man for a woman who truly doesn't know what she wants, is dealing with other men anyway, and is hiding it from me, yet I'm taking this girl out to dinner. I'm paying for, things in her life, clothes, fancy dinners. We have children, we have a mortgage. When I add all of that up, if I find out that this woman I've been dealing with has been cheating on me, well, she's a working lady, essentially. She worked the hell out of me, right? Do I want to be on the hook for owing that woman hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own assets? Or would I rather just want to deal with a prostitute who I know I'm paying a set rate, and then I don't have to worry about any of that stuff with? So I'm 100% on board with you, man. Like, that's really a good question that I believe every man should be asking themselves in this society. And it might sound very taboo to some people, but given the reality of the world that we live in, that is something that we do have to balance or weigh as men. And I'll land my plan there.
I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Jerome in the house, you got it. We'll get the Great Black Reset in right after you.
Hey, what's up, Roger? How you doing?
I'm trying to make it, man. I'm trying to make it. A lot of holes out here.
I bet you is, but we gonna handle that other problem at the round table. But um, yeah, honestly, it is better just to mess with the pro, because when you really break everything down, just to go on a date with a female, we could round everything up. That's $20 for a drink times four. She gotta eat, so you probably gonna spend like $60 on her on both of y'all plates if y'all gonna eat great, right? Then she might want dessert. And then you still got to pay for gas. Gas almost like $5 a gallon to get there. So at the end of the day, when you break all that down, It's a lot. Plus, you gotta have conversation with her. So conversation already that costs like $500. It just don't add up. Like in this day and age, you definitely will be coming off a lot better if you get a prostitute that look good as hell. Probably gonna look better than the chick you taking out on the day too. She know what the program is. She come through, do what she gotta do, and she leave. You might get lucky if she a cool prostitute and want to chill and smoke a joint or something with you and all that. You know what I mean? Of her weed, of course. You know what I mean? Of her weed, of course. And you just came off great. You ain't waste a lot of time, probably an hour and a half out of your day, and you go on about your business. You ain't got to worry about calling nobody, make sure they got home. You know what I mean? It's just good. So, and the bad part is, females did this to themselves. They literally did this to themselves. And I'm ended off right there. I want to do a gold P right
Well, I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Gold P. Great Black Reset. You got it, my brother.
What's happening? What's happening, fellas? What's happening, Punk?
now.
What's happening, Mr. Sims?
What's the
What's
word?
happening, chat? Ah, we're going about this the wrong way. But first I want to say to Roger, I appreciate you today. You uplifting brothers today again today, and you're trying to put brothers in a better position after you don't tore another brother down all day yesterday. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So um,
Hey, so
we
you tell
we
me
going
down today.
Hey,
we
hey,
going
now
about
look,
this.
look, look, look. I wasn't a part of
What's
that, bro.
that?
I was trying to help LeBron, man. But Uru came in here with his belt off, man, and he was on a mission.
Listen, man. Even the greatest of us are hypocrites and haters sometimes. This channel is for uplifting black men, and what happened yesterday was atrocious, atrocious. But I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna
We
let
got to
that
look
go.
out for black men too. We got to look out for them too. We got to
That's
let them know
right.
when
We
they messing up. We got to let
got
them
to
know when
look
they
out for
messing
black men. So today we looking out for black men. So today I think the best advice you can give men, especially young men coming up now trying to understand women. See, here's the thing about dating. You ain't got to know nothing about a woman to date her. You ain't got to understand nothing about a woman to date her, right? All you got to do is be a quality man. Period. Just be a man that they want to be around. Be somebody that they find attractive in whatever way, right? They naturally are gonna want to be in contact with you because they like attention. They want to talk to you and all this other kind of stuff. So they gonna give you their numbers and all that other kind of stuff. So we talk about women that we are acquainted with, whether it's a prostitute or whether it's a regular woman. Bro, when you get ready to go somewhere and do something, you get yourself dressed up, smelling good, do your thing. You call the woman of your choice that day and say, "Hey, I'm headed such and such. You want to go?" That's it. You just inviting her because you want company. You going anyway. You gonna go hang out anyway, whether she's gonna be there or not. You don't give them no opportunity to run up a bill on you and to make demands of you. I want to go here. I don't care what you want to do. When you want to do something, you pull your wallet out and do it, and then you invite me if you want me to go. But I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it plain to you. This is your idea. You paying my wallet, staying home. That's the deal. I have always dated women that way, and it's always been successful for me. I don't pay for dates. I go where I want to go. If I want female company, I'm going to invite the female I feel like I want to be in my company that day. That way, there ain't no pressure. You're going to have a good time whether they go or not. If you do that, you're always going to have success and you ain't going to be worrying about what their demands are. I ain't never cared what a woman thought about where she wanted to go and all that. They just talking, man. Most of them broke anyway. They be glad to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, because he dating the ones with kids, nigga. Why?
Man,
Look, so I agree with you, Reset. You just tell her like, yo, I'm about to go to the Mets game. You want to go? But you're still coming
Right.
out. But you still got to come out of your pocket.
No, but see, I ain't concerned about her hair getting done. I ain't concerned about her if her toes is done. I ain't concerned about if she got it out. See, when you're talking to them and you're professing to them that you care for them and you want to be with them and all this that, that's when all the demands come in. That's when you gonna take me out? We ain't been on a date lately. This, that, and the other. That's when that come in. See, when you just moving about the world in the way that you do things, and from time to time you pick up the phone and you talk to them, this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? But there's no established relationship with them. You can just pick. You can just pick who you want to go with you.
But reset. Can you do that safely? Can you do that safely? Because when you think about it, right? If the girl that you calling up randomly when you just out going to a Knicks game and just living your life, she doing that for you. She also doing that for a bunch of other dudes, right?
Now who
Right.
cares?
But
Well,
but
who
but check
cares?
it out. When you're dealing with a professional, professionals typically because they have a dollar amount that they're
Okay.
charging you for their services, they're probably going to be running their stuff more like a business than like a silly hoe,
Okay.
right?
So let me
So
ask you.
so
Let me
But
so
ask.
they
Let,
both,
safely. So when
but
it
they
comes
both
to getting
doing the
checked,
same
when it
thing
comes
for
to
everybody
having
though.
panels, when it comes to having panels and stuff to let you know you're safe with who you're dealing with, when it comes to how they operate, like I'm not going to be one of these messy females that you got to worry about all that drama with. You're paying for that as well. So really, you got to ask yourself, am I going to pay for this dicier female to sit courtside with me, or am I gonna pay the premium for the professional, knowing that I'm gonna deal with a lot less pushback from it or a lot less blowback from it?
okay. So here's the thing.
Wait, hold on, reset too. The good thing about the professional too is you take it to the movies and you see a nigga staring too long, you could just tell him, yo, give me 200. You know what I mean? You take 50 off the top, send her up there, get dressed right, and you guys will be sitting.
You gonna
Work on
sub
that.
Lisa
Spencer
out,
Steven.
bro?
Spencer
You gonna
Steven.
you gonna sub Lisa out?
She a
That's
professional,
Yeah.
so I guess he
hey,
could.
that's wild. No, I listen in my personal experience, right? Um, I I I only surround myself with women I find attractive anyway. So if I find myself in the bed with you, I don't wake up feeling bad. That's just how I move around the earth. Um, when women get to know you, you have a decent personality. They like to spend time with you. They like to talk to you and all this other kind of stuff. You keep the pressure off of yourself by just being your normal self. And when you get ready to go somewhere, just say like, "Hey, you going to the sports bar to go watch a game? You're gonna do what you want to do. You ain't thinking about no particular woman and what her needs are and what her phone bill is and all that stuff. I ain't worried about none of that. Hey, I'm finna call up Keisha. Hey, Keisha, I'm going to Twin Peaks. You want to meet me up there? I got you. She ain't gonna say no. See, I ain't asking her, hey, you want to go out on a date? See, when you start talking like that, they start giving you demands. Hey, I really like you. I want to, take you out sometime and get to know you. I ain't telling you none of that. I'm doing that naturally. Hey, I'm going to Twin Peaks. In my mind, hey man, I'm finna take you out to this spot. I was going anyway. I'm just gonna spend a couple extra dollars getting you something to eat, and I'm gonna sit there and have a conversation with you. If I don't like you after I've done that, I'm not gonna call you the next time. I'm gonna call somebody else.
Well, I'm gonna say that's a good working strategy. I'm gonna say that. That sounds like a good working strategy. It's something like that will work. It's not that far off from stuff that I've taught in the past myself, so it makes sense. Because what have I told y'all? If I go on a date, the only thing I can guarantee you is I'm gonna have a good time. Now,
Yes.
I do think, and I'm gonna say even with the perspective that how things were being talked about in the video, we as black men, we do concern ourselves unnecessarily of the perspective of women. I don't care about your hair. Okay. I understand you want to get your hair done. I get a haircut when I get a haircut, and I pay for that haircut. What's going on your head? That's your business. You is not my wife. Okay, it's that simple at the end of the night, and that's real talk. It's that simple. I don't care how your hair comes. You present your hair how you want to present your hair. Now, I do understand nowadays a lot of women will say things to me and like, well, you want me to look nice, right? And I'm like, and I'm just would be like, you'll figure it out. If you want to look nice, you'll figure it out. But if you're looking for me to pay for your hair and you are not my wife, I understand I need to send you in a different direction. And if you can't go in that different direction, then there's no reason for us to date. Now
Okay.
I do think men have failed by making dates something other than trying to court a woman. And this is where I blame men, because we control what dating is about.
This is okay. Addressing what you talk about, like they saying they want to get their hair done and their nails done, like the hair in this example. The game started at 8 o'clock. I'm calling you at 7:30. I'm telling you to meet me at Twin Peaks at 8. You already know in your mind you ain't got time for that stuff that you requested. So if you tell me I ain't got my hair done, oh, well, hey, well, I guess this ain't a good night for you. Click. That's it.
Reset. Look. You just moved the goalpost a little bit there, man. You ain't talking
What you
about no
mean?
30-minute notice. You wouldn't talk about no 30-minute notice originally. You making it seem
No.
as though you calling up, a girl on a regular basis. She got to be part of your rotation, right? I mean, if you can call her on that regard, she's got to be part of your rotation if you moving like that, right?
Okay,
So
see,
this
this
ain't
is
just
what.
this ain't some girl that if you calling up any female like that, like, hey, I'm going to a Knicks game tonight, beat her, and she like, all right, cool. Like you gonna had some type of established relationship with her.
I said
So
that.
yeah, so you're paying you're paying a premium there anyway, right?
Where are you paying a premium? Listen, we're not in any type of established relationship. You somebody I met at my cousin's barbecue. I found you interesting. You found me interesting. We exchange numbers. We just talk from time to time. We're in the same friend group. We see each other when we get together. Go to karaoke on Monday nights. I see you every Monday night, and we just happen to have each other's number. You're a school teacher. I'm working at the warehouse, and we just cool.
Now you
Now
see,
I thought
are
about
y'all
you. I thought
are
about
y'all
you.
smashing?
Huh?
Are y'all smashing?
Nah, see, reset. He don't
No.
understand. You reset the game. This is new millennium Mackin right here.
This is what I'm trying to. Yeah.
Instead of
You
saying
ain't.
that, it's straight.
Yeah, he's basically saying, take someone out that's already in your circle, so you can maneuver certain things a certain way. And that's what I'm saying. It is a strategy a person can use. So, and I see it as a good working strategy. And if you go with that approach, yes, it
I
will
got
save you
you.
money.
Okay, all
So
right.
I can't say it's bad.
Well,
Now,
what I'm saying on my end is, all right, to the point, why are you doing this, right? You probably want to smash this person, right? You probably want it to go there. Now, once it gets there, that person you're dealing with is the woman we talking about, right? She becomes the question of, do I deal with women or professionals? When you smashing this person. Now, if you're going out, you just having fun with best friends or whatnot, that's different. But the point that you start smashing, you've pretty much been doing all of that to get to that point.
Yeah, see, I see
So
what
how
Brock
much
is
does that cost you? So how much
I
does
see
Oh,
that
what Brock,
cost
yeah.
you?
I see what
what?
Brock
What?
is saying. He's saying regardless,
What?
you ain't getting no definite ass.
Right.
Me, I'm gonna
See,
get some definite ass at the movie.
if you want something definite, then you just go pay the pro. What I'm saying is, see, these brothers are doing things the wrong way. It's costing them too much money just to get to know a chick because they're falling under these tricks of I gotta get my
Okay, I
nails
got
done,
you.
I gotta
I
get my
got you. I
hair
got you.
done, and
Okay, I
all of
got you. I
that.
got you. I got you. I
well,
got you.
and,
Yeah,
Well,
and
both of y'all right. Both of y'all are correct at the same time. Put it like that to avoid any confusion. Y'all both are correct at the same time. You
yeah,
know what I
that
mean?
that is true. That is true. Both of y'all are both saying something very true, but he's just using a different strategy that you can use with women that's
yeah. I
somehow
got you. Yeah,
already established in your circle, which is not a
yeah,
bad
yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah. I got you. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a
That's not
bad
at all.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's not at
Okay.
all.
Now I
Yeah.
got definitely more to say, but I'm gonna slow down because Inspired Truth then came up. So we're gonna get him the flow. You got it, my brother?
All right, am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent. I hope all of you all on the panel and all of you out there in the chat are having a beautiful Friday, getting this weekend kicked off the right way and enjoying this stream here. Make sure you hit that like, make sure you're subscribing if you ain't already. All right, so let's get to this. Like, I heard that we are mentioning hoes today. So yeah, okay, let's get to it. So yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. Like, so you do have like your professional whores, if you would call them that. Like, and then you have what I would call like your scam hoes. Like, cause like they are hoes. They will bust it for the money, but they'd rather scam you first. Like if they could be like, okay, I'm gonna go out with you, but first I need to get my nails done. And then they'll tell another dude, like, yeah, I'm gonna go out with you, but first I need to get my hair done. And then they block you. Like, cause the whole thing is like they want to be as lazy as possible. So they will take whatever they can get for the free ski if they can get away with it. And there's like chicks that'll do this whole thing where it'll be like, okay, maybe you are like, dating them, smashing whatever, and then maybe they like get to the point where and depending on like your standing, like if they ain't really, really into you like that, they'll get into this thing where they'll be like, oh, can I get some food? But I ain't coming through today. Like I just want just like some food for me for here for right now, whatever. And then it'll be that, or I'll be like, hey, let me, can I get that good gas? But I ain't gonna be around you. Like all these things that separate the benefits of you from actually being with you are like an indicator of a hoe that you don't need to be with. like somebody that needs to be cut off. And then there's like the broader thing that goes on where it's like the chicks acting like a cross between used car salesman and a 4-year-old on Christmas Day. It's like, okay, so what is the price to access to this? Like the price to go out on a day. Like, oh well, dude needs to cash at me at least $200 and all this stuff. Like, if you leave it to them, they'll be like, the price of access is a spaceship. The price of access is Fort Knox. It's some kid, 4-year-old kid / used car salesman type shit going on here. Well, my bad, I forgot to. But that's kind of like what it is, kind of like on a natural end for the broad majority of women. Like it is like the price is astronomical, and then you have to like just bring it back down to earth.
Well, I'm gonna jump in and say this. And this is what I think that we as black men just do stuff just a little too wrong because we concern ourselves with their nonsense. They know it's nonsense to tell somebody to cash at me first. You just met a woman, you ain't never been out with her, and they talking about cash at me first. That's nonsense. I don't pay no attention to that. Okay? Why would I cash at somebody I ain't even been with? That's just a person literally telling you, send me some money so I can block you. Yep. If you see it as anything other than that, hey, good luck. That's all I'm gonna say, man. You're a grown man. If you want to give your money away to somebody you never did anything with, knock yourself out. It's your money. It's your money. Look, man, at the end of the day, when you start learning to protect your money the way you should protect your money, then I think a lot of this stuff solves itself. Because I don't even think the woman is the problem. I think a man's relationship with his money is more of the problem. Because if I don't know a woman, I can't give her my money because it's my money. And my money got to be spent on my bills or something I'm doing to have fun for me. Now, I may be the young woman. Maybe I say, hey, I want to go out with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take you out, whatever the case is. Now, there are some women who may say, hey, well, I need to get my hair done. Mm-hmm. And all I'm going to say is, okay, well, get your hair done. What time you going to be finished? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to even address anything financial. I'm just going to say, what time you going to be finished? Now, she's going to have to go into a whole thing about, well, I need you to get my hair done. And I'm be like, I sing, you look fine. You don't need your hair, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have talked to you if I thought you needed your hair done. And then she's gonna have to try a little harder to say something. See, I'm gonna give her an opportunity to back off and not make herself be a fool and let her get away from trying to beg me for money and she don't even know me like that. I'm giving her a chance. Most women are too dumb to understand what's happening though. I'm just gonna keep it real. They too dumb to get it. Okay. So I'm giving you a chance to back off the foolishness, but you're not gonna do it because you're being silly. All right. And y'all remember, stupidity is a choice. Okay. So once you are dumb enough to that's the point when I just moved away.
dang, I
What
didn't.
I'm saying is I
Did you
need
cut
somebody
out?
to get my hair done. And I'm gonna say, I mean, that's something you should ask your husband about.
Here's the thing, like, so yeah, they'll that Cash App thing. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I gotta get my hair done," or blah blah blah, so that I can be presentable and all this other stuff. Like, we gotta like circle back to this. Here's a good kind of strategy. Like, if you have the bag, like, yeah, I'll show you the money, but I ain't giving you the money. You're gonna have to like invest in this. Like, you're gonna have to actually show me that you belong here some type of way, like because
Man,
people
yep.
like kind of like let that whole like invest in me type thing just kind of like go like, hey, I am this, you want access to this, show me something.
Well, I'm gonna vehemently disagree. To me, there's nothing to circle back to. Okay. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Guru. He say Cash App before a date is like sending an Indian scammer $200 because he said your social security number was stolen.
Man.
uh, now, now I'm gonna say to me, there's nothing to circle to. If you need me to pay $200 or whatever you need, I don't care if she says $2. If you need me to give you $2 to get your hair done so you can go out with me, you're not worth taking anywhere. It's that simple at the end of the day. To me, there's nothing to circle back to. If you need my help so you can go on a date and you're not my wife, I understand if it's my wife because our money's connected to a certain degree. But if you're not my wife and you need my help to go on a date, I just rather you stay home.
Well, here's another thing, like, because on your end, I know you probably do like the whole cold approach thing instead of like the online and all that jazz. Like, so you're meeting her already, like, okay, I like how you look now. We could go out right now, like the way that you look right now. You don't need to get your hair done, like, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be talking to you if I didn't like how you looked right now.
Exactly. And I don't care about your hair getting done. I personally made a decision years ago that I would no longer help women with hair because I've done that and I just decided it's stupid and I'm not
Yep.
gonna. It's not worth my money. I don't care about
Yep.
your hair. I'm not
Yeah.
putting money into your hair. I don't care.
It,
You
it,
know.
it's almost like the level of delusion that a lot of the women out there operate under today is just baffling. It really is because intelligent men, at some point when we've had bad experiences, right, we're gonna just start to kind of look at the numbers and really start to map out the logistics to give ourselves the best chance, right? And the numbers are not on our side, so it's just baffling for them to believe that we go into these things believing that they are wife material anyway, if we've done any level of research, right? But they
Now,
still come at even the intelligent man with that same BS. And the crazy thing is, it works. It works for them with very naive, inexperienced
and
boys that's still
and
trying
that's
to
what I was
figure out life and how it works
that,
and the
that's
reality
what I
of the
was
world.
going
That works for them.
that's what I was
And it's
going
enough
that's what I
of
was
those
going
type of dudes in this world that they get away with a lot of getting that $200 cash app, telling some dude that's a simp, and
Not,
they
not,
understand it.
you know what?
That
That's
But look, how could you say they delusional if it's literally working?
hold
but
on,
but
hold
but the
on, guys.
delusion lies in the fact that they think that actual men who have something, of value to them to lose to that
What,
degree
what,
that
what,
are
It's
intelligent are going
what?
to do it.
Well, I'm gonna
it's
say,
giving
hold
them
on,
proof
guys. Hold on,
that it's
guys.
valuable.
The-
Sorry about
the-
that, man.
no, it's fine. But there is the guy with no legs. And guess what? What y'all talking about right now is the guy with no legs. Is there a man who's going to send you money who's never been out with you before? Yes, he does exist. How many of those men are your brothers? How many of those men are your friends? How many of them are your cousins? How many of them are your coworkers? Do you know the men who will do this stuff? I'm not saying they don't exist at all. What I'm saying is the percentage is so small. It's like the guy with no legs. So women are lying. Women will tell you I can go on OnlyFans and make a bunch of money. But OnlyFans, last time I heard about it, it done dropped to the average chick only making $200 a month. When it was quote unquote big, they was only making $600 a month. No, there's a woman who can go on OnlyFans and make millions of dollars. Most women ain't her.
Roger,
The average woman getting 200. So guess what? Yes, there are men sending money. It ain't enough to hold them at all. It's not that big a deal.
Roger, y'all, I don't know where y'all be at, but man, that there's more niggas doing this than you think.
Yeah.
Literally, it's more niggas doing this thing. Just think about it. You got niggas literally on OnlyFans. Some of the niggas that will tell you they the illest dude in America, and they got an OnlyFans.
No, I'm
I'm
saying
telling
I agree, Shark. I
like
agree.
these
I'm
niggas
saying that
literally
I know
doing
what's happening.
this.
I'm just saying that the delusion lies in the fact that they believe that's actually going to work amongst the experienced, productive, intelligent brothers out there. They do so much of it to those guys that they come to us thinking that it's going to work with us, and it's almost like they trying to change us into those guys.
Well, I could agree with that, but you got to remember, it's not a lot of us. It's a lot of those other guys, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
Now I'm gonna say shout out to Afro Merchant. He said, I don't think it's small, it's that small, Roger. It's probably like 20% of men across all generations, and that's the problem. Now I'm gonna say this, because you will never get a real figure on how many guys it is who just giving a woman something for literally nothing. I won't argue that the guy exists. But my thing is, I don't care that the guy exists. At the end of the day, I understand a woman's gonna ask me for something. It's up to me to say yes or no. I don't care who gave you anything. I'm not giving you anything. I asked you on a date. If you cannot get yourself ready to go on a date, you shouldn't be dating. That's all. You're a bum. Okay? And I don't want to take out no bum. It's that simple to me. But see, guys won't say stuff like this to women. Or we'll get in our feelings because, if you broke, just say so. Niggas getting their feelings and be mad. Bro, I don't care what you think you broke. I cannot concern myself with what a person. Hold on, let me just say this real quick. I could not concern myself with the whims of a person who means nothing to me that has no money. It does not make sense. If I give a homeless person money, I am not following that homeless person around and see what they do with it. If I decide to give it to them, I give. You are not important enough for me to care about the result. So I don't care what some woman who needs my help to get herself together to go on a date with me. Her words mean nothing to me.
You got to tell them
Go ahead, bro.
if you can't pay to get your hair done, you don't need to be going on a date.
I was just gonna say, I tell a bitch, look, bitch, before I cash after you $200, I'm gonna cash out that to the Roger Report Live. All right, fuck out my face.
Now, I can endorse that. I definitely can endorse that one.
I maintain y'all giving these women too much lead time.
Yes.
It's the lead time that's the problem. I'm trying to get the note. See, you don't never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Man, listen, we got to be smarter. Just going forward, we got to teach these young bucks how to be smarter, man. You don't tell these chicks you taking them out on no date. You don't tell these chicks nothing. You have a couple conversations with them, and you'll know. You kind of feel it if a chick is feeling you or not, or whatever, right? And one day you hit her up. Hey, man, I'm headed down to blah blah blah. I'm gonna grab me something to eat. You want to go? That's right then. You got the answer right now. If your answer right then is, well, I need to get my hair done. All right, well, I'll catch you next time. And click, hang up the phone. Don't even wait for an explanation. Don't go back and forth with that chick. You wasn't ready.
So you know how you do it? You tell her, I got an extra ticket to the Knicks game on Thursday. Meet me in front of the Garden at 8 o'clock.
There you go.
That stuff does make sense. I don't want to say that stuff does not make sense, but I am also going to say, y'all, there is a vetting process that I'm doing. Because I'm gonna just tell you the straight up truth. You know, if I talk to a woman and she needs my money to go on a date, I just never take her out. That's her telling me she ain't good enough. And see, we sometimes because we're men, we're thinking this in a perspective as we have to get this woman. We ain't got to get her. I don't need a woman who can't get herself together to go on a date that I'm paying for. That tells me I do not need to associate with this woman at all. If the
It
only thing I need to do with her is give her dick and nothing else. She don't qualify for anything else, and she may not qualify for the dick.
But that's what I was gonna say. Just scratch her off the list. We just talking about a chick who got her shit together. Like Recess said, that's how you approach it. Might not the Knicks game because then it looked like, well, how does this nigga then got 2 tickets for what reason? So you might look crazy with that one. But just say like, yo, I'm going to so and so. You know what I mean? You want to fuck with it, or I'm going to the poetry place that they be doing shit on Thursdays. Let me know if you want. If you don't even let me know, I'm going there. This is where it's at. Meet me there at 8 o'clock.
No, I'm saying
it
that is good for a woman that's in your circle. So my thing is that's one way, which I'm fine with. Me, if I'm meeting a woman and I believe she's worthy to take out, because number one, I'm only gonna take out a woman that I believe is worth courting. If I don't believe that, we don't need to date. We can do all kinds of stuff besides going on a date. Okay, it ain't like she ain't trying to give me some, but we don't need to date for her to give me some. That's just realistic. Okay, so now if I want to take her on a date because I think she's worthy of it, at the end of the day, I still need to vet her. A woman who tells me she needs my help for me to date her is letting me know she wouldn't be worth anything to me in a relationship.
I
To me,
still got
that's a wonderful thing that she told me she needed my help.
I
No
still got
cap.
to go
And
back
I
to this
believe
whole
what y'all
investment
saying.
part
You
though.
missing
Like
out on
this,
you missing out on a potential worker.
Bro, if she need my help, I don't. She's already positioned herself as a instant liability before I even went anywhere with her.
Yeah.
Now I
well,
know a
yeah,
woman's gonna be a
Yeah.
liability to a certain degree, but you add more liabilities than what
Yes.
I
And
prepared myself to even do.
Nah, I'm
yeah,
gonna
because
tell her
this
I
isn't
got a
even just a
job to help you get
liability.
your
This
hair
is
done.
like an ultra liability because like she's not even willing to pay her part. Like you're like, okay, I'll pay for the date, but you won't even pay for your preparation for the
no
date. So
shit.
if you start off on this whole, okay, you don't have to invest anything, you're gonna end this whole thing on the she doesn't have to invest anything, and it's gonna be like training zero investment from day one.
No, this is what I'm saying. You tell her I got a job for you to help you get your hair done. Old man Johnny down the block, he lived right next to the laundromat. You gonna knock on his door and you gonna get your hair done. Now you building up a clientele. You smell what I'm saying?
You know what?
Let me ask you this.
I'm not.
Let me ask you this, Black.
Let me
This
just
is
say real quick. I'm not gonna say that that's wrong. I'm gonna say I don't care enough. To me, she looks like a homeless person at that point. I'm not gonna follow a homeless person around and see what they did with the money. If I give a homeless person $5, I promise you, I am not getting behind them to see where they're gonna spend that $5. I don't care. Once she needs my help to go on a date, I don't care about this woman at all. She's
a
just totally
reset.
unimportant.
Reset. When you
Yes, sir.
say vetting women within your own circle, right?
Right. Yes.
To what degree are you vetting those women even? And when I ask that, let me give you a little bit of background. I'm from St. Louis,
Wait, if
okay?
she's in your circle, you already vetted her.
Well, to what degree though? Because some people are in bigger cities, right? People move around those bigger cities. Like let's say vetting a woman in LA is different from vetting a woman in a city like mine, St. Louis. Vetting a woman in New York is different from vetting a woman in Memphis, right? Those are smaller cities. Like St. Louis is a big populous city, but it's dense. So it's a small city in the sense that we can ask the question, what high school did you go to?
Oh,
So that's how
you're making
small of a city St. Louis
you're
is. We can ask
you're
somebody what high school did you go to, and then we probably know somebody that went to that high school, and we can vet from there. But if you're in a
you're
bigger
making
city, that's harder to do.
you're you're making the question more complicated than necessary. Let's just say the four of us are part of a group of friends that hang out. There's women that hang
I
out
got you.
around us because of the type of men that we are. There's just a certain type of woman that's going to be allowed to be around us in the first place. So you kind of get to know them in passing, anyway because we're always hanging out. We're doing things at each other's houses. We're going to bars or watching the games and all kind of stuff. And women just like to be around men. They do, right? So you're getting to know them on a natural basis. After a while, you kind of get a feel. You're like, okay, I kind of digging her. So you just have a
I
natural
hear you.
conversation. You at the bar. You at the we're at Roger's house doing a barbecue, and you just pull the chick over. Hey man, let me talk to you. Da, 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 da. Okay, y'all probably already got each other's number and stuff like that. You figuring out little things about her as time goes on. After a while, you feel like, hey, you know what? I want to get to know her on an individual basis. You don't ask her, hey, can I take you out on a date? You just call her up one day because you got a number already.
Yeah,
I'm
Hey,
gonna
don't
say
be
I'm
something
such.
headed. I'm headed.
sacrilegious. I'm gonna say something y'all not might not agree with
Go
real
ahead.
quick, but like
Don't say it,
I
man.
really don't believe that vetting is a silver bullet at all. Like this chick still will present as a great option in front of familiar company, but the
Man,
main thing that matters is like how does she act with you? Like how does she treat you? Like you might treat this guy this way and then you go and you act with me a totally different way. Like that's the actual most important thing rather than what she presents at around polite company, just,
I'm gonna challenge
Well,
you on
on the
that though,
surface
because
level.
she might treat you better because you got more than probably any man that she's dealt with before. So of course, naturally, she gonna want to secure you more, man. So that does matter, being able to vet her to a deep degree, bro. And that's
well,
harder to do in bigger cities because even if you know her one way in a bigger city, she still has mobility at that bigger city, and and there's a degree to which you can vet her in that bigger city versus a smaller city, and that, or maybe actually going to high school with her, elementary school with her, growing up with her on that degree. So that's why I asked, like, to what degree are you vetting these women?
well, now let me hold y'all right there. Y'all, let's remember, there's more than one way to skin a cat. What Great Black Reset is talking about is working the circle. You got a circle of people already. He's working the circle. And honestly, if you're gonna work the circle, his advice sounds dead on correct. It makes
Wait, can I
all the sense in the world to me.
wait?
Real
Can I
talk.
say something? Can I say something, Roger?
Go ahead and I'll finish after you. Go ahead.
Re, Reset. I wouldn't advise you to go to a barbecue at Roger's house because you'll be the first online for with your plate, and he gonna give it to the person behind you. I would. Just,
Duly noted, sir. Duly noted, sir.
You know what, sir? You know what, sir? I would say something about that, but since you said him, you probably right. Okay, since he duly noting stuff, duly note that too. All right, but no, what I'm saying is, y'all, there's more than one way to skin the cat. Great Back Research has gave a great idea for working a circle because it's working the circle of women you have in this circle of men that you're dealing with. So that is a good approach because you get all the key things done. Plus, it'll be good to see how she's acting amongst different people, and then you can compare that to how she acts with you to kind of get into what Inspired Truth was talking about. So now I see how she's acting around us, but now I get to also see how she acts around me. Both of those are winning strategies at the end of the day. Now, I'm saying for a woman you don't know, as a man, you do have to look at value. Now, the reason I stuck that video in about the guy who has a good wife who's being a blessing to him, who's actually helping him, who's actually listening and understanding the things he's talking about, is if I ask a woman out and she needs my help in any way to go out, in any way. So if she says something about her hair done, her nails done, anything, I don't care what it is. If you need my help, if you say, oh, I got a kid at home, I need a babysitter, whatever. Once you expose to me, you need my help to go out, I know you will never be the wife that'll end up helping me. So I'm already done. And that's what a lot of guys don't get. So because we get caught up in getting the woman. You
I
gotta
got
understand when a woman's telling you she ain't worthy of it.
Let me add a little bit more context too. Like, all right,
Hold on.
let's
Before
backtrack.
you add, let me get these super chats in before you add.
Okay.
Shout out to Elder Blood. He said the way black men has always bowed down and catered to cum buckets. Explain why black men bow down and cater to white supremacy, then make excuses for having no money or freedom. Now I'm gonna say I understand where he's coming from with this because we have this idea that we have to get this particular one because I'm talking to her. I gotta get her. No, I don't. I don't. If I talk to you, you've been blessed. You were above the woman I saw and I didn't talk to. So you better than them. But sometimes I'm gonna talk to you and you're not good enough to do anything with. So you're not better than those women. You just got a sentence out of me or small conversation out of me, but it doesn't mean you're actually valuable in any kind of real way. And I'm saying, well, once women let me know that they need my help so they can date me, they're telling me she ain't got no value. It just is what it is. I will never trust this woman to help me with anything. It's never gonna happen. Shout out to Jerome Payne. Appreciate your brother. He say, Roger, these women out here asking dudes to pay their babysitters and get them an Uber to meet up. Laugh out loud. Sound like broke girl winter to me. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. If I'm paying for the date is free to her already. If you need my help to get to a free location, you're basically worthless. It just is what it is, y'all. I want y'all to think about that concept, and especially as much as how women like free stuff. If you need my help to get to something free, you don't deserve to go. You know. And real quick, shout out to Trust. Appreciate you, sister, and shout out to you for the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. Trust says, trust yourself first. There are children out here playing grown up. Hashtag adult only. Trust, I don't know where
I
you
like
got that
that.
from or if you made that up, but that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay, go ahead, Inspire True. Go ahead.
All right, so let's just go real quick over like the different funneling systems. So you got cold approach. Maybe you do an indirect opener or direct opener. There's pros and cons with cold approach. You've got the social circle game. That's legitimate. That's a funnel. There's pros and cons with social circle. Then you've got the online game, which a lot of relationships are kind of going through right now, like becoming like
Horrible.
50% of all of the stuff that we actually have. And so yeah, that's kind of like the apps. That's kind of the social, like the DMs, hidden DMs and stuff like that. There's the presentation where people might even be DMing you. And so there's pros and cons to all of those different things and strategies that are going to be applicable to all of that. And you kind of have like a bigger volume of people, like either in the cold approach or on the online space. Like in your social circle thing, you've got maybe a smaller body of people that you're working with, and you don't necessarily want to burn things with your circle too. So pros and cons to it all.
Yeah, yeah. And me personally, man, I take my sexual health very seriously. So if I was in that type of situation, I probably would rather just deal with a professional, man, because at least I know that this woman is probably about to come with a panel. You know, I know what I'm dealing with. It's not draining my resources beyond whatever price I'm paying for it. And for me, it's just a better deal for me than taking that type of risk and messing with some female who, you know, might got something that I can't get rid of, right? Even if you use protection with these females out here, there's some skin to skin stuff that you'll have to deal with messing with the wrong type of female. So I'm good, bro.
All right. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Elder Blood. He says, didn't God say get a helpmate, not a dead weight? And this is no, I appreciate him saying
That's
that because
good. That's good.
it goes right along to what I'm saying, y'all.
Yep.
If I see a woman, I'm attracted to a woman. I go talk to a woman. I ask a woman out. She now says to me she needs my help to go to a free date. This is not a helpmate. Okay? She's never going to be a helpmate. The gentleman that I put in the gentleman that was speaking about his wife, he talked about how his wife was a help to him. If you need my help to get on a free date, how are we ever going to be in a position where you can help me with anything? You can't get to the free date. Y'all, Y'all are men. Well, at least most of us that are here, you're men. You're not thinking about the date from the perspective of a woman. To a woman, a date is a free thing to do for her to go enjoy herself. If you can't get to the free experience, you don't deserve to go. It's that
Yeah,
simple. Things happen in life. Sometimes you got to miss something, even though it was free.
it's the thing. Like women are really great at storytelling, like being storytellers. Like even if you kind of like look back at like some of like the big feminist like bell hooks, like she's actually like an English PhD. Like that's excellent at storytelling. Like that's not all about like objective reality. And like us guys, we get kind of like into this I'm gonna prove something, or this ego thing where they're kind of like will accuse us of being broke, or being scrubs, or being this, or being that, and then we'll say, okay, no, I'm gonna actually prove to you I'm not this. And then that's how we end up getting like sucked into this
Man.
trap where we end up kind of like tricking off on somebody that's not even for us. I get the ego and the storyline thing.
All right. Shout out to the RX. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. He says, "Greetings, Roger. The phrase 'get to know' was stated, but many of us have discovered for the majority of women, there's nothing to know. Laugh out loud." And I'm gonna say I totally agree with this sentiment. And the thing is, we don't listen to women eliminate themselves because we're I get it, we have that hunter's mentality where I'm trying to get her. No, no, no. Everybody ain't to get. Sometimes even animals in the wilderness, y'all, they come across a dead beast, but that beast was dead too long, and they just gonna keep going. Everything
Man.
ain't supposed to be messed with. You gotta walk past some of it, y'all. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and I'm saying this: there needs to be a clear message that men are giving to women. Don't be more trouble than the prostitute. Because if you don't have nothing to give me, which a lot of women are trying to brag about and get other women to say, give a man nothing. Okay, the prostitute ain't got nothing to give me either. And she cheap. So if I gotta pick between the woman who's gonna give me nothing and she's not a prostitute, and I gotta pick from the woman who will give me nothing and she is a prostitute, well, now it turns into a mad problem. If I get a more expensive prostitute, she $100. I get with this chick who's not a prostitute, she gonna cost me way more than that. And I'm not even endorsing. Let me say that I'm not even endorsing men to go be with prostitutes. I'm just putting out a man problem.
I want to introduce a thought. I think we put too much emphasis on having sex with women when it's really easy to have sex with women, especially black women. They like having sex anyway. If they like you, they gonna give it to you anyway. So if you're putting a cost on it in your mind, you're gonna overpay for it trying to get it from a woman in the first place. I've never concerned myself as an adult with am I gonna get sex from this chick?
Yeah, yeah.
If you showing them a good time,
Yep.
they're gonna give you sex anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and
So it shouldn't cost you more money to sleep with a woman as it would if you just was hanging out with her. The cost should be the same.
No, well,
well,
the costs are not
well,
the same though when you think about other factors. Is what I'm saying. Like me personally, I'd probably rather pay a professional woman than be putting myself in that type of situation because
No,
she's gonna
I
tell me
get
a
that.
lot more. Yeah.
I do get that.
well, I'm gonna say a problem. One of the problems about dating is men have misused it. You date a woman to get sex. That ain't what dating for. Dating is to court women. If you're dating a woman for anything other than courting her, you wrong. And guess
I'm gonna
what?
say
I keep hearing men keep saying stuff about, well, no, all this stuff about what the women, nigga, you paying for it.
I'll say something that's
Well,
gonna
hold
be
on,
a little bit.
before you
Okay,
go
go
on,
ahead.
before you say, I want people to understand this point. You're paying for it. What is your relationship to your money? Do you want to give all your money away, or do you want to get the stuff that you want to get with your money? Put the women to the side for a moment. What are you doing with your money? Because when I use my money, I want to get stuff I want. Now I gotta pay bills. I can't get around that. But the rest of my money, I want to get what I want. Now I will give charity from time to time because I believe God wants us to give charity. And I do that, but I'm not doing charity for some strange woman. You know what I'm saying? Because I take a interest in her. I'm not doing that. So I ain't getting your hair done. I ain't getting your nails done. If you can't make the date, I don't care. You just told me you're not a person worthy enough to be in my life. That's all you really communicated to me. But and I think women are communicating that to men, but we just not listening. If she needs your help to go to a free place, and a lot of times you're gonna pick her up anyway. She ain't even got to spend money to get there. If she can't get to a free place to go out with you, bro, she's not worthy of. She'll never be a woman that helps you, and that's what you're supposed to be looking for. The woman who's going to be the helpmate, not a woman who's going to be dragging your life down. Go ahead, Inspired.
All right, I'm gonna say something that's like a little bit controversial. Maybe more than a little bit controversial. If you are attracted to a woman and she's not super feeling you like that, but she is going out, like you're gonna have to at some point get down to what it costs to to actually get what it is that you want. Like seriously, like there's chicks still like you'll spend $1,000 to on these restaurants, on this, that, the other. And when you really actually have like a real conversation with her, she would have busted open for 500. She would have busted open for less than 1,000. Like you're doing all of this inefficient stuff because you won't have a real conversation. And
Well,
that's
Oh, you
I'm
guys are
gonna say
crazy.
this.
You
A
guys are
lot of
crazy.
stuff.
All you gotta do is have a wait. Hold on. Most women that are willing to bust it open for a couple of dollars, they usually like $200-300 below their threshold of what they want to have. And
true.
you can talk to these chicks and say, listen, for sexual access, I'll give you $50 a week every Friday. You ain't gotta ask for it or nothing. And they going for it. Because you don't sat down and talk to them and say, hey, how much your bills are, how much you
What
need,
if that?
and I'm
What
short
if?
by $200.
Yeah, that's a real conversation. That's real.
I have had that conversation with a woman before, and she asked me, what do you want? I want sexual access. That's what I want. I want to be able to show up when I want to show up and get what I want to get, and I'm going to make sure you got what you need from me, what we agreed to, and we cool.
Okay, let me ask you this, reset.
Stop playing
What
games.
type of woman? What type of
Well,
woman
hold
do you
on. Before
think
you
that
ask that,
needs you in that way?
Brown, before you ask that, because I remember I let him go because I was going to say something.
Okay.
This is why I keep
Oh, okay,
stressing.
my bad. Go ahead.
If it's about sex, there's no reason to go on a date. Okay. If it's about sex, there's literally no reason to go on a date. And I do a lot of stuff, y'all. Y'all got to weave some of this stuff together mentally. Now I know it got taken down because I done lost some channels, but I done talked about the 2 day rule. You only got 2 days. If you're not a virgin, we're done already. I'm not gonna have a discussion with you. If I like you, I'm vetting you for marriage. If we got past 2 days and you're not a virgin, we're already done. We're finished already. So I'm not concerning myself with some big amount of money that's going to be spent because you'll never be in position to have it spent on you. And I've told y'all before, even the woman who called me after the fact and said, what's going on? I done told them flat out. Because I don't tell them about the 2 day rule beforehand. I tell you afterhand. Man, we went out twice. You ain't do nothing with me. You clearly not feeling me. So I left it alone already.
I
They
gotta
go.
clarify.
So I'm just saying they find out after the fact that we're done. Now women will say, well, nah, it's not. I don't know yet or whatever they're gonna say. Look, I know you wasn't feeling me. You didn't do nothing. We're done. Now, if you want us to do something else, you can pay for the next day and we can go out again. You can figure out whatever you want to figure out. But she ain't finna pay to go on no date because that's not what her agenda is. If she already is a sexual person, she ain't had sex with you, she had her reasons for it. And I get it. Some women say they're gonna make a guy wait that they are interested in. Well, bad choice. Because I'm not waiting. Go. What's your what you say you want to clarify? So what's that?
Yeah. So I'm not saying that to give the context here. Like I'm talking about a situation where you are super into her aesthetics for whatever reason, and maybe she's not super feeling you. There's going to be women that you're attracted to them, they're attracted to you, you're gonna go, that's great. There's also gonna be those issues where for whatever reason you're super into their aesthetics, maybe you got into some investment, you got into the sunken loss fallacy, and now you're trying to get something out of it. So this is where the real conversation comes in. Like that's and I'm not saying that it's like a great thing to go after chicks that are not really feeling you, but like if you're really like hard up about like getting something out of it and you really are into those aesthetics, then you got to have a conversation.
Just offer some money for some sex. You don't really need to do nothing else. She gonna either do it or she ain't. You being
Pretty
hard up
much.
about it just sets you up for a bad situation. Look, shawty, a good prostitute costs $100. I will give you $100. You let me have sex with you because I already see you not feeling me. You know what I'm saying? Now she gonna say yay or nay. But don't turn it into a thing. Real talk. Don't turn. And I ain't saying you got to offer 100. You know what I'm saying? But I would offer 100 if I was in that situation. You know, just say because you really feeling her. I give you $100. That's what a good prostitute would get. Now you're not gonna charge me more than a prostitute because she a professional. It just is what it is. All right. Now we got the two people with privilege just popped up. Bronk, I'm gonna say real quick because they ain't started yet. You was about to ask something. Can we get what that is real quick before I get these gentlemen in?
No, you just kind of you just really addressed it with what you were saying. I was going to ask back reset, what quality of woman are you going to be paying that in that type of situation that you can make a deal with for $200 a month? She gonna bust it open. So yeah, you kind of alluded to what I was asking.
All right. Well, Black Rule, you made it here first. We're gonna give it to you, and we're gonna give it to Cream right after you. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me, Roger. I hope you and the gentlemen on the panel, folks in the public chat, are doing well. I'm listening to you guys talk, and there are all these varieties of scenarios and varieties of women and varieties of maneuvers, and discreetly everything makes sense. I haven't heard anything that I disagree with in the specifics of the situation or whatever, but it all together leads to a very unproductive society. Very unproductive men, very unproductive women. There's a reason why in your more productive societies you have wives and whores. Now, why do you have that clear distinction? Because it leads to efficiencies by which people operate together. You're not trying to trick me. I'm not trying to trick you. We're going to make a deal, whether it be a husband and wife, or a deal, whether it be a trick in the hole or a John in the hole. And we're going to fulfill each of our obligations therein. And then in the case of wife, we're going to stay together and build a family together. In the whole, maybe I'll see you next Tuesday. Very efficient living, very orderly society. So while I don't question or challenge anything that any of you all have presented, because it's in a chaotic world, you guys appear to have some artfully chaotic machinations suited for it. When I put it together in its totality, it's a fucking mess. And nobody wins in this. Nobody wins in this. And now in my opening statement there.
All right. We're gonna give it to Cream, and I'm gonna make a statement after Cream, y'all. So gonna be about some money. And shout out to her brother. Go ahead, Cream.
Just for clarification before I begin, when we're saying professional women, women who are in the corporate world, 9 to
No,
5.
we're talking about actual whores, prostitutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is this even a conversation up in this motherfucker? I mean, so first of all, shout out to Roger, shout out to the gentleman on the panel, and shout out to the chat. And okay, I was gonna say something totally different. I'm a little off guard now, but I'll go off the cuff. Well, first of all, I don't even know how this is even a choice. You go ahead, get a surrogate, have your kids, and then it's definitely professionals all day. You rent these hoes long term, you know what I mean? Get your ass licked by 3 and 4 times at the same time. Put your ride in 5 different pieces of coochie juice and let them each taste themselves off of it. Women don't do that, player. And then on top of that, you don't have to talk about your fucking feelings. I mean, shit. I mean, my God. I don't even know how this is a choice. And you go. I mean, especially if you can rent porn stars because they're already tested. You get the $150 tested. You sign contracts. I mean, shit. You get your balls strained every day. You drowning in coochie juice. I don't even know how this is a conversation, fellas. But that's my opening statement.
I don't know if you caught it earlier, but Roger was going on the financial assessment. Now we got the two financial brothers on the panel. I know this is gonna be lit.
Well, I mean, because I thought it was about professional 9 to 5 women. Because it was about professional 9 to 5 women. And I want to give a shout out to a couple niggas. Shout out to Kendall Isaac. He gets $30,000 a month. Shout out to Brian. He gets a lump sum payment of 500,000. Shout out to Stephen Belafonte, 40,000 a month. Shout out to Todd Tucker. He gets paid a lump sum of 400K. Shout out to Kevin Hunter. He gets paid a lump sum of 100K. All these niggas did what y'all niggas should be doing. Date women who make more money than you. So when divorce come, you get that money, then you go trick off on a professional.
I was wondering who those guys was. Okay, I see a message for you, man.
Kendi, the ex-husband of Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, I catch you now. I catch you.
Ex-husband of Rachel Lindsay. Todd Tucker, ex-husband of Candy Bird. Kevin Hunter, ex-husband of Wendy Bird. Y'all
Put him
niggas,
in back, bro. Put him in
Well
back.
done on tying that together. Well done.
y'all niggas don't know y'all history up in here. Shame on y'all.
Hey man, you just pulled them out of nowhere. That's cool business. That's cool business. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna say shout out to 414 Money, y'all, because he was asking some questions yesterday about getting the show done, and I was giving some information on if you want a show done, you can request whatever kind of show you want. I charge $100 to do a show, which I think is a reasonable price. Because we might have to do a lot of research, and I gotta ask guys that come on the panel regular basis to look at this or look at that, or the case is. But we do shows, your topics, as long as they fit the platform. I'm gonna tell you that, y'all. Just make sure you give them a topic that's gonna fit the platform. How do you know if it fit the platform? You watch enough of the Roger Report Live that you know what the platform does. So there you go. Now, when I said that, he actually sent $100 yesterday. Obviously, he sent it right away, but we were close to going off air, so I didn't get the notice before we went off air. It hadn't came in on my phone yet. But once I told him what it was, he dropped $100 same day. No muss, no fuss. So shout out to 414 Money. Appreciate that. And he asked for a show on can a black man be productive in a white dominated system. So we're gonna put that show together, brother. We're gonna definitely put that show together. So that'll be one coming soon. We're gonna get Inspired True broadcaster soon too. Go ahead.
Great.
Right. Do you have his email? Because we had some questions about clarifying the definition of productive or productivity. So that was something I think we
Yeah.
needed to kind of clarify to properly honor his request.
Absolutely. And 414 money. Can you send me an email to the Roger Report at yahoo.com? Okay. Can you send that to me either today or tomorrow? Because y'all, I am not good with emails. I get so many emails. So that's why I'm at. If you can send me one today or tomorrow so I can look through all those emails to try to find your email. Okay. And Black Roo, I done peep some of your stuff too. I'm gonna be going through some of those to see what we're gonna do with some of your stuff that I haven't gotten to yet, just so you know. All right. All right.
Yeah,
So
if he could provide a definition and some examples, so we're clear and we're addressing his point,
How you
and
doing,
that
bro?
we don't spend 3 hours off topic from his request. So
Okay.
absolutely.
Over there?
Hold on, let me take
Okay,
care
so
of
I
this real
turned it
quick.
on.
Hey,
Thank you.
reset.
I got him. I got him.
Reset.
I got him. I got him
You done
already.
reset?
I got him. I got him already. All right, y'all. Now we have Lena joining us. Lena, I'm about to give you the mic, and Lena, I'm gonna want to talk to you after the show. I'm putting some shows together, and I want some of the ladies to participate in this particular show. So, Lena, I'm gonna ask for you to get down with us on a particular show, but I'll talk to you about that later. But go ahead with what you want to say on this particular show. You got the mic.
All right. Good afternoon or morning, depending where you're at. Hi, Roger. How you doing?
Doing
Um,
great. Good to have you. Good to have you.
I just want to say that I think it would be better for men statistically to date women that are educated and have degrees. Women who have bachelor's degrees are more likely to get married and least likely to divorce.
That's interesting.
Very
That is, I would say in the overall society.
have those statistics been adjusted for Black American women?
I just said women in general. I didn't look for specific by race.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
See,
that's
we gotta be more specific about that, darling, because there are a lot
Yeah,
of
and then I
statistics that go in very different directions when you adjust for Black Americans in particular.
exactly. And then I would also challenge
Also,
when
I
you're
want
looking
to
at
see
any
that
data
link
and
because I
statistics.
hold on. I hear Brunk going, and then we
Yeah,
get you inspired, True.
when you're looking at any data or statistics, you really have to dig deeper. And Black Rule, that was an excellent point. Is that data adjusted for black college graduates with at least bachelor's degrees? Is that adjusted for income of those graduates? And is that adjusted for family dynamics of that graduate? If they came from married homes, two-parent homes themselves, all of that is relevant when it comes to giving out that kind of information. Because if you kind of give that information out, then you have this particular group of women that fit that category, and we know that I think black women are graduated with more degrees than black men are these days. That's a large subset for us. So it's very very important to be very specific with that data so that we don't lead people astray with it.
All right, now I'm gonna say something because we don't want to mislead people either. Every group of women graduates more than every group of men because there's more women than men. That happens in every group.
Right.
So saying that women earn more degrees than the men of any group is not saying anything. And people do need to be aware of that. See, sometimes you can present information and it'll give you a message that ain't true, even though the information that was given was actually correct. Every group of women gets more degrees than every group of men because there are more women in every group than there are men in every group because men die earlier than women. Wars,
Well,
jobs,
look,
different
here's
things.
the thing: different women get different groups of women get degrees for different reasons. So just because a white woman getting a degree, a teaching degree even, or something like that, or especially a become a doctor, for example, her thought processes and actions are going to be very different from that of her black female peer. That white woman is still much more likely to view herself wanting to get married and have a family, and maybe even retire relatively early. In her medical career to be a mother, for example. White women are much more likely to do that than black women. So that's why it's difficult to take this broad statistic and apply it across
Yeah.
all specific groups of people, especially women.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say shout out to Afro Merchant who just said in the chat. Actually, they're more likely to divorce, and of course, Trust Yourself First says women with bachelor degrees are more, emphasizing the more likely to divorce. And this is something you should be aware of, Lena. Just as a person and a woman. See, the thing about a
I
black
got
woman and the degree is that they literally go to get the degree so they don't have to listen to a black man. That's literally their purpose in getting a degree. So when
I
you
don't
have the goal of not listening, and they don't even see it as it's really, I ain't gonna listen to no nigga. When that's your goal, having a good marriage with a woman like that ain't very likely. That's just a reality when you start looking at black women specifically.
respectfully, Roger. I don't see women going to school like I just don't want to listen to black men. It's usually to become educated and make more money or to better
Why
themselves.
why are girls told to go to school in the black community?
So they won't be impoverished.
So you don't have to depend on no man.
No, my grandma told me get an education. Don't nobody want a dumb woman. That's what my grandmother told me.
Sometimes,
You're one person.
sometimes,
Lena, we don't want to take that away from you.
Lena,
Hmm?
Lena. Sometimes people stated purpose for doing something leads to unintended behavior, and they don't necessarily anticipate. Like saying, "I want to be able to take care of myself. I don't want to be poor or whatever." And on the surface, that sounds good, but what happens is it leads to a series of actions, and then other actions, and then other reactions, and then ultimately, even though initially you might not have been or adopted misandrist perspectives on things, over time and over circumstances, you do just by virtue of achieving what you originally set out to achieve.
And Lena,
Also, if your
Lena, I have
priority
a
is wealth, then
hold on,
marriage is there.
hold on, Lena. I have a question for you. Not you, okay? This question is not about you, but have you ever had some of your friends that went to college with you that went to college because they want to be independent? Not
Mm,
about you. Not about
yes,
you.
independent, independent, but not like what
Oh,
you think.
okay. So then my follow-up question, and I'm done after this. Marriage is interdependence. So if
Agreed.
you want to be independent, wouldn't that be the very opposite thing of a marriage by
I can
definition?
agree with that. I can
Okay,
agree with that.
all right. That's why I don't even know why we're talking about this. Prostitution all the way. Thank you very much.
I'll go back to that whole wealth thing. Like you were saying, like the whole point is that you don't want to be broke, you don't want to be poor, blah blah blah. The wealthier subsection of our group is the married folk. Like if your whole
married folks.
purpose is wealth creation, then you got to prioritize marriage. That's actually where it's at. It like the bachelor degree chick that isn't married, her net worth is less. Like if that was the goal, if wealth was the goal, then that's the thing to prioritize. Like on the group level.
Now, I do want to say one of the reasons I put that link in the description was to show some unmarried women and what they're looking for. Now, which one of those women am I supposed to get with and get a and then I'm going to become more successful because of them. So we got to be real about what we're saying. And Lena, I'm not going to say you personally ain't trying to be a good person out here in the world. Yeah, you is one thing, but you one woman. The average black woman goes through college, so they ain't got to listen to a nigga. And they dress it up in a lot of different ways, as Black Rule said. But when it comes down to it, the goal is to not listen to a man that is black. So how can a woman who goes to college to guarantee she ain't got to listen to a black man gonna help any black man in the situation.
Here's something to examine going forward when you're speaking with your friends. Talk to them about um, their ideal of what purpose men should serve in their lives, and you'll find out that when you talk to them, their purpose is how the men should serve them. What should the man be doing for them? Very rarely will you find a woman, especially an educated black woman, that talks about being in service to the man. Is she getting a degree to be in service to the man and her family? Usually they're not.
And I'm gonna say one more quick thing, and then I'm gonna let Toya have the mic too. But Lena, think about this. Think about this. You know some women who went to college. They got that bachelor's degree. How many of them got married? Think about the percentage rate. Degree now married to a black man. Think about that percentage real quick. Okay. Now I just went out for a second. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Lena?
I heard you.
Gotta repeat it, Roger. I didn't hear it. Repeat it.
Yeah.
A little bit
No,
of cut
I'm
out.
saying she knows some women who went to college. They got that
Mhm.
bachelor's degree, which was just mentioned. Okay.
Mhm.
Think about what's the percentage of those women who now have a bachelor's degree and are actually married to a black man. Think about that percentage. I'm sure it's not 100. Okay.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
don't
I
even know what
haven't.
you're talking about, but I'm sure it ain't 100. But I'm gonna let Trust get the mic, and after she finishes, I want you to give us like a range or a percent, some type of number, and if you can be honest with us and tell us which of those women are actually married to a black man at this point. Okay. But I'm gonna give Trust the mic, let her speak, and then while she's speaking, if you can come back to us with that number when she's done, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Trust, you got the mic.
Thank you, Roger. Good
Okay.
morning and good afternoon for everybody, wherever you are.
Huh.
Um, the reason I got triggered is because of Lena's question, which I think was in good faith, and I can totally relate to having been in that line of thinking. When I first came to this space, I was just, asking questions just like that, and to be very honest with you, uh, what Black Ulu said is correct. Just because something is presented to you in a certain way doesn't mean that it bears without considering the outcome. And a lot of times, I'm included in this. A lot of times, our parents are telling us, go to school, get your education, make something of yourself. But the underlying theme is so that you don't have to answer to a man, because for some reason, we've gotten it in our heads that that's the absolute worst thing that you can do in life. Now, I don't recall who it was exactly that brought up the notion that once you do have that education and you do get married, that you tend to be wealthier, but that is also the case. Now, I'm not going to answer Roger's question until you do, Lena, but I have some thoughts on that as well.
Mhm.
I'm going to land my opening statement there, but I just really wanted to come up here and show you a little bit of solidarity in terms of the question that you asked and understanding where it came from. And just, maybe we all should go back and have conversations with our communities about why this is the overarching theme and what it really ends up doing to us instead of for us.
All right. Thank you, Toya.
Can you
Thank you. I
guys
appreciate you, big deal.
allow me an old man moment, and because I missed Alina's question, so if she could efficiently re-ask the question. Pardon my intrusion in that regard. I just wanted to know what we were talking about.
Roger, repeat your question. That's what he's asking.
Oh, how many? How many, or what's the percentage? Something numerical that we can go by. That these women that she went to college with, or just women she know that now have a bachelor's degree, How many of them are now married to a black man? Like, what's the percentage of that? Because I'm sure it's not 100%. Do you have an answer for that, Lena? Lena, you're on mute if you're talking.
I'm sorry. My bad. Now say it again. Now,
What's like the percentage of women who did? Because you said men should go to be with women who have bachelor's degrees. How many sisters? What's the percentage of sisters that you know of that now have this bachelor's degree?
Can I recommend you ask that question differently, Roger? Please. Lena, roughly how many of your friends are college graduates, female friends? Roughly.
I say, let me see, 1, 2, 3. Three out of the 4 that I'm real close with are college grad and have been married.
So you only know 4 women who are college graduates, and
You
3
said
of
my
those
friends.
4 are married?
Yeah, that I'm
I said
close with.
women you know. I said women. I said
About half.
women you know. Just women you know.
About half.
Okay. How many women you know roughly are college graduates? Roughly.
About half.
No, like what's an estimated number? Do you know 100 women? Do you know 50?
Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you're saying. About out of the 50 I know, work with, and have day to day, some type of dealing. Half of them are married. But to be
So
fair,
you're
they're
saying
older.
you roughly know 50 women who are college graduates, and roughly 25 of them are married. That's safe to say.
Yeah.
That's in line with
Okay.
overall statistics.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be accurate. Yeah. About a 50% marriage rate.
So if I may say,
and so that 50 women, are they all black?
That's pretty consistent
Yeah.
with the numbers.
Yes, but to be fair, they are black. But to be fair, a lot of them are African from Africa.
oh, that's
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
different.
Because the
That's a
stats say
different
fewer than
culture.
30% of black women overall are married. So
But we know
that
these 50 are
50%,
probably
yeah,
African.
you would definitely would have to adjust that for the African
And
inclusion,
Hey,
because that
let me ask you
totally
this, Lena.
changed
Let me ask you this.
the point.
Let me ask you this, Lena, really fast.
Mhm.
Of the women that you do know who are college educated and married, between the Africans and the Western black women here from the U.S.
Mhm.
I don't know how deep you know these women, but when you're having conversations with them, what are the Africans saying about their husbands versus what you're hearing the Western women say about theirs?
Um. Yeah, I know one African woman. She's really like, oh my gosh, she's like the best wife ever. Even the Asians stare at her. She go home like she won't even do a double unless she gets an okay from her husband and she has an hour break and she goes home. She's on the A block. She always works near her job or where she lives so she can go home and be close to her house or feed her family. She will not let her family eat dinner without her. So yeah,
So
she's played it and
let me
everything. She's a good wife.
okay. Okay. I don't really have a question for the women, but well, I kind of do. So for example, right? Obviously, I prefer to only get married to a woman if she makes more money than me in this day and age. But as we see robots are coming online, why, like, for me it would be robots first, professionals next, then women would be last. So
Mhm.
why, I'm being serious, gentlemen.
Wow.
Forgive him.
This is
Roger,
Forgive him.
actually an excellent
Roger,
question.
put this man in
This
back.
is a
No, no,
this
no,
is
no,
an
no,
excellent
no.
question.
Yeah,
Please, please let him get this question out. This is an excellent question.
So to the ladies on the panel, because like I hear Lena ask, right? I hear like, and no respect, Lena, I don't know you, but Like, for example, when I say to my robot and ask questions, I get stuff immediately. So, for example, robot, 6 a.m., please wake me up with a BJ every morning or every third morning. So why would I want a woman now when I have a robot to do everything I want to do, easier
Do I put my
communication?
BOLs in the back of
Oh my
the
God, can
trailer?
you shut the fuck up?
Somebody just comes out to come get them.
Brother, I don't interrupt you. I don't interrupt you. So can I please?
No,
So
he was talking to somebody else. I
oh,
just
okay,
muted him.
okay. So why would I want a woman in 2026 when I can get robots first, then prostitutes, then like what would be the value of a woman in 2026?
It's funny you pose it for a woman. You can almost do it with anyone. What would be a value of a human being if you can get a robot? You could just replace humans with robots, but there's more value into a human because humans can understand and have feelings and
Pause for a second. Can we pause for 1 second? See,
mhm.
this is the problem. I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about
So
a
women aren't
female
human.
companion. I'm talking about female companionship, and we're going left. If you were a robot, you would just answer my question.
Well, are you looking for an answer or companionship? I mean, a woman is more than just answers.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Toya, please answer the question.
And
I
she just made your
I
point
see what he did
so
right
vividly.
there. I see what he did.
She really, Toya's
Sometimes
right. She really did answer his question. Her response really did answer his question. Unfortunately.
Oh my
right.
goodness, man.
We appreciate you though, Lena. We appreciate you. Real talk. Okay.
Yeah, no
But
disrespect intended to you.
yeah,
Yeah,
not
no disrespect. I mean, no disrespect, but I just want to make it clarified to the brothers that we need to really rethink about. We need to be at the forefront because black men are always last, and black men are the garbage men of the dating, and we need to change that. And I think moving forward, one of the things we need to start doing, especially if you don't want children, is to be thinking about how technology can be better companions for black men than women.
all right.
So
Now
I have a question. So
what
would you can I ask a question real quick?
I'm just saying
Pray.
real quick. I don't want Toya to forget what she wanted to say too. So we'll do your question, then we'll get back to Toya.
Okay.
And then I'm
Um
gonna deal with a super chat too. I gotta deal with super chat too. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
so you're saying with dating, so why wouldn't you replace your companionship black man why don't you eliminate all risk like companionship? Why wouldn't you just strictly leave it for black men to have companionship with AI, period? No companionships with other men, no companionships with women, just alleviate all variables for any type of room for error or discomfort in a black man's life. Why is
Well,
it just
because
black women?
different relationships have different end goals, right? So AI doesn't fit. AI probably wouldn't work in a context of professional networking, right? So different relationships have different end goals. So in this case, AI, in my humble opinion, and robotics, right? And robotics probably will serve men better because at the end of the day, right, is because women have been such self focused that they can't even properly communicate with men and think about what men want. That now is at a point where just AI will be a better service to them, right? That's the end goal.
Can I say something really
Can I
quick?
answer her?
Oh, go
Can
ahead,
I
Lee.
answer her question? Because the relationships between black men are more cost beneficial than the relationships between black men and black women. It's just that simple. We derive proportionate to our investment and our risk. It's much our relationship with other black men are much more cost beneficial than our relationship are to black women
Yeah, that's true
as a
too.
whole.
Yeah.
I want to add to that too. Like there's a misconception about like what men want, and like men are not women. Like women will say I want one thing and then they'll actually mean another thing. Like men actually mean it when they say I want this thing, and then women will say no, they want the opposite of what they want, and then that's how we end up, a part of how we end up with this bad, a lot of the bad deals that we end up seeing, that we end up observing, where we just don't get what we want, and it,
Well,
and the robot ends up becoming
When
better in
women
some
operate,
cases.
they operate in bad faith. They operate in bad faith.
Yeah.
They operate in bad faith, and we're less able to punish them when they operate in bad faith. When men operate in bad faith with each other, people bleed and possibly die, and that's the
Yeah, and
fundamental
so
difference.
what? And so men are problem solvers. So when it comes down to it, when men are in a society where the women are very uncooperative, they won't listen, and the same men have the resources and the technology to just build women who do listen, that they don't have to argue with or just deal with the actual professional, most men are going to choose those options over exhausting their time, energy, and resources dealing with these
All right,
issues.
y'all.
And here's
I
an
want,
example.
hold fast because I want Toya to get her thoughts out, and I gotta get to these super chats. Okay, Toya, you said you wanted to input something, so we here for it.
Thank you. I just want to say that quite simply, if Black women understood that when we are asked a question specifically by a man, he is simply looking for the answer to the question he asked, not for what we thought he said, not for where we think he's going to go with it, not for any preconceived notions we have of the question being asked to other people. And that's what stops us every time. Instead of answering the question directly head on, we like to go off and take trips and drive around the corner and around the mulberry bush before we even get anywhere close to what is being asked of us. How do you even deprogram us in that regard? And to piggyback on Cash Rules Everything Around me's point, um, you're better off going somewhere where you're just going to get the answer you're looking for versus having to put up a fight to not only dissect the question, but understand it, restate it, and maybe get to an answer. That's the biggest problem that we have in terms of relating to one another. And to the question that you had earlier, Roger, specifically, I can say that there's one woman I know from high school age that remains married to this day versus the other four women that I knew that got married later on in life, I mean, after college, whom are all divorced. So, the math is very much girl math, but it definitely isn't mathing.
One
All right. Now I gotta say shout out to Landon. Thank you very much, Landon, for the super chat. He says, "Man, I got a whole family of black women. When black women act like they're not going to school to be completely and utterly independent, it terrifies me. You realize we grew up with you." And I'm gonna say that's a very good point. And I think he's addressing, like Lena said, what her grandmother told her. And Lena, I'm not saying anything about what your grandmama told you. I'm just saying you're one person. There's always gonna be exceptions to the rule. And ever since I've heard of people telling black women to go to school, the main message and however they formed it was, so you ain't got to listen to no nigga. That's
one
what it's been.
Well,
It's been dressed up a little bit,
black
but it's
women
been
do
that.
a lot of quoting. Black women do a lot of quoting of grandparents and whatever. A lot of it's lie, and I'm not accusing Lena of lying, but a lot of it is lies or things being said out of the broader context of not only what grandma is saying, but even how grandma is living. So we really need to start to interrogate some of these statements and hold black women to greater accountability for that kind of stuff. Because a lot of us are lying on our elders and our ancestors, and it's
yeah,
despicable.
yeah, one
Again,
I want
example
to
of
I'm
that.
not saying it about you, Lena, in particular, but I'm just making a broader statement.
One
I want to
example of
follow your
that
point.
is like when we had that whole thing go out there about like a man wants banter, a man wants a challenge. Like, no, a man wants peace at home. I don't want a challenge.
I wanna follow Black Uru's point. I'm
After Black
49 years
Reset,
old.
after Black Reset, I gotta get in. I gotta read one more super chat, and we got a new guest that needs to get in. Go ahead.
Okay, two things. I'm 49 years old. I grew up around a lot of black women, and I've heard in conversation older women telling younger women to go to school so they don't have to depend on a man. I've heard that over and over and over again. I heard my aunt say it. I've heard my grandmother say it. I've heard my cousins say it to their younger daughters. So it does not. I'm not accusing Lena. I'm just telling you what we hear when you say, "Oh, that's not our purpose. That's not what we're thinking." It does not ring true. We've heard it. We grew up with you. We know who you are, and we know that's your reasoning. And two, real quick, at my second point, we do not value your education. If you didn't go to school to be educated under my direction, if I didn't say, "Hey, baby, I need you to go to school to become a nurse, and this is how it's gonna benefit the family," or I didn't send you to school to become whatever for beneficial for the benefit of the family, and you agreed and submitted to that, that's not valuable to us. We do not care.
All right,
Yeah,
now,
a lot of degrees aren't necessarily going to be money makers. You gotta have a piece of paper with a whole lot of debt attached to it in a lot of these cases.
what? All right, now I'm gonna say, even on that point, the reality is a black woman's degree to a black man is usually just another bill to pay. She does not use her degree to make money for the family, and that's reality. You know, a lot of people have said, well, they go into jobs where, number one, their degree is not even being used. So they're not even getting compensated per that degree. And then a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, the few who are in a position where they don't have to work, well, you're not working outside the home, so that degree ain't doing anything for anybody, you know. And just for you to stunt to say, I got a degree.
The problem is not the debt. The problem is not the debt. And the problem is not even the degree. The problem is, are you working together with a man to put together a productive life so you can pay off that debt? I've known a lot of people with tremendous student loans debt that paid that shit off fairly easily and fairly quickly because they worked together to do it. They were on a plan together to pay that shit off to do it. They accelerated the payments of that, but they worked together to do it. The problem is not the debt. And the problem is even necessary because you can, well, until recently, I mean, I guess shit is collapsing now, but up until just recently, you could build a productive life with a sociology degree. You could do that. And you could pay off $100,000 in debt. Guess what? If you're married to a man who's also a productive person, you could pay that off. But you can't pay it off when you get that debt. You don't pay it. You don't get married. You don't work with a man. Y'all don't put budgets together and do cash flow analysis and projections of how y'all gonna be able to handle y'all financial business. That's how you end up not paying it off. The debt is not the problem. The degrees is not the problem. The problem is not having a plan. Black people not having a plan to work together to take care of it. That's the real problem.
And yeah, that's definitely what I was getting to. I agree 100%. And I'm going to say it's hard to make a plan to do something about a debt with a woman who already has the attitude that because I have this degree, I ain't listening to you no way. It's hard to make a plan for that type of woman. And I'm
Amen,
going to say,
Roger. Amen.
and shout out to Kunguru. He said she also said have been married. Now that came in after Lena talked about, the some of the women who were married who are now not married. Okay. And shout out to Landon again. He says, and I graduated from an HBCU, AAMU. They do this to be strong and independent. The whole world knows this at this point. And I'm gonna say yes, it's no longer a secret that black women are trying to be quote unquote be strong and independent. And what is the requirement of being independent? You have to be alone. It's literally a requirement. So when women say I did it for any other reason, we don't really buy it. And again, if your degree ain't helping me pay some bills, you didn't do anything to me but bring me a debt.
Yeah.
I don't
Now,
appreciate that.
hey,
Now we got
Roger.
we got
Oh,
a gentleman who's not gotten in yet.
all right.
Uh,
Can I go after him? Because I want to respond to what Uru just said.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
But we giving the mic to I think it's Big Booty Ugandan. I think that's what it is. Is that Big Booty Ugandan?
Oh my gosh.
Brother, you on mute. There you go.
When you Negroes gonna learn, bro? When you Negroes gonna learn, bro? I just, hey man, hey man, it's just breadcrumbs, man, breadcrumbs. I'm gonna get y'all to the promised land, though, bro. Just see what I'm saying. One big booty you gone in at a time, though. But it's okay. I'm gonna get you there, bro. I'm gonna get you
That was it. Oh, he back on mute, so I guess that was it. Shout out to
there. That was
All
it.
right.
Emerald72. He says, "Thank you, Toya. It's the same reason I don't prefer female leaders. They don't give straight, direct answers." And I do definitely appreciate Toya for saying that. The getting a woman to give an answer to the actual question you ask do be like pulling teeth, and that's real talk. But I'm gonna give it to Bronx because he said he wanted to say something before we stopped him, so we can get the big booty
Yeah.
Ugandan in the house. Go ahead, bro.
But yeah, so Uru, you're spot on when you say that it's really not the debt or the degree that's the issue. I've worked the greater part of my adult life in the realm of finance and insurance, and always some capacity as a financial advisor, financial consultant, or just really focusing on insuring people's businesses, home, auto, and things like that. The craziest thing that I've seen in my career was an IRS agent walk through my office with his wife, and he was um, trading on Robinhood and made some pretty good money, basically trading Tesla stock options on Robinhood. And he got greedy. He got greedy. So this guy actually profited about like $1.8 million and got greedy and wanted to make more and ended up selling all of that. And so that exercised what they call the capital gains tax because he made a profit. But then after he made that profit, he went and lost it all. Now this is an IRS agent, so he's got this $400,000 capital gains um, tax that he has to pay, and he has no money to pay. Now his wife and him come to me to try to help solve the problem, but I'm a financial advisor. If you're not coming with assets, I really can't help you. The only way that I was able to help that guy was to ask him questions about his life insurance, because if you die in this situation, your family's screwed if you don't have enough death benefit to cover this. So that's the only way I can help him, make sure he can get freaking life insurance while he's dealing with the issue. But this guy was able to kind of work with his wife, who was in orthodontics. So they had pretty good income. They were able to take the income they did have and eventually work through it. They had to essentially tap into a family trust that their parents had for them. They had to liquidate some assets for it to happen. So yes, it absolutely can be paid off if you're dealing with someone that you can work with and that is cooperative enough for you to be able to pay down that debt. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out and speak to that point who had made.
Look, two decently employed people can easily pay off 100 grand or whatever in, let's say, a 4 or 5 year period if they're really committed to doing it. So it's not the debt. It's not. It's the lack of plan and the lack of people working together. Now, I had a question for Toya. The rambling that women do, that reference to, I guess, respectfully Lena appear to do. Is it a
Hmm.
conscious thing? Is it subconscious? What's going on there when the women are rambling like that?
Good question. It's definitely not a conscious thing because we live in la la land the majority of the time. Sit with that for a second. We live in la la land. The majority of the time, we are in the land of delusion. So a lot of it is gobbledygook, right? And we have to in our minds, it's all flowery and dreams and so when we are asked a very definitive question, rather than hearing it for the directness that it is, we'll flower it up in our heads and come back with something that doesn't make sense because we've distorted it. Because rather than tackling what the issue or question or premise is, it's much easier to redirect it and to make it something else that sounds and feels better. It's always an effort to redirect rather than answer. Now, one could say that
Do
that's
you
very
think?
intentional. Go ahead.
Pardon me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just had a related question. Do you think that women know that men will read that as a sign of disrespect when they do that? Do you think most women know that?
No, I think they think that I think we think that y'all will think it's cute.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, shit.
oh,
So that just shows you how far
That's
off the
almost
mark we
worse.
are.
That's
It
almost worse.
is.
that sounds
Really?
like a child. That sounds like a child.
Really?
That does sound like
Yeah.
a child.
Yep. Bingo.
All right, well, let me get this super chat in. And I know, Toy, you wanted to say something, so I'm going to give you the floor after the super chat. Shout out to my main man, Tunnel Runner, y'all. He said, Roger, just sitting in the lounge Miami, enjoying 2 beers, thinking about all the love I received in Medellin, Colombia. Yes, we can. Si Sway Pueda. I hope I pronounced that somewhat right. I don't speak Spanish, but shout out to you, brother. And I hope you'll continue to enjoy yourself, y'all. Y'all see the brothers who actually find the right way, the right wife seem to enjoy themselves just a little bit better. You know, like even like I said, the guy that's in the clip. When you see how he talked about his wife being a blessing to him instead of a hindrance to him, I mean, it just comes across a lot better. And I'm gonna say every woman that was featured in that video did not seem like they could ever be a blessing to a man. And that's just real talk. You know, they can say what they want to say, but I just don't see any of them being a blessing to a man. So, Toya, if you got your thoughts together, I know you wanted to say something, so I'm gonna let you get in, and then I will get Tunnel running in after Toya because he's coming up now. Go ahead,
I
Toya.
won't be long. I won't be long, Tunnel Runner, but you were close, Roger. It's si se puede, which means yes, we can. Um, so earlier I sent in a super chat that said there are children out here playing grown up, which is essentially the truth. I mean, a lot of women are stuck in arrested development because other women in their community keep them there. Just like you and I have talked about before, Roger, single women keep women single. It's a never-ending cycle that continues to regenerate itself with the more children that women have and raise to think that it is more important to become educated. And I'm using air quotes when I say that. I know you can't see me, but I'm using them uh, because being independent and not having to answer to a man sounds like the right thing to do to them until you start looking around at all the women who are saying it that are alone. And so I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I'm forever indebted to this space for opening my eyes to that fact so that I can move better about the world and so that I can practice deference when I'm in the space with other men. I'm very understanding more now than ever of how much I've played into that and how much it has detracted from my quality of life. So if any women are listening to this and can hear the sound of my voice, the best advice I could give you is that the next time you're having an exchange with a man and he is very matter of factly either asking you something or telling you something, do yourself a favor and listen before you respond. And maybe don't even respond and just do what is being asked. See how that gets you versus whatever your first mind was telling you. You got it, Tunnel Runner.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. But yeah, I'm just here in the lounge in Miami. Just come back from Colombia. Just enjoying my wife. Brought her a beer, and we just chilling here, thinking about how much fun we had in Colombia. And I got about 30 kisses last night on my cheek.
from family and friends. All these, well, most of the women were married, but I was still getting kisses and smiles. So just having a good time, enjoying. Just wish you were all here with me. Peace.
Now I'm gonna say shout out to Tony Runner and the family, y'all. It's been a long time since I got 30 kisses. I ain't gonna lie. It's been 30 kisses at one time. It's been a long time before I got that. So yeah, he doing something right. He definitely doing something right. Shout out to the family, brother. Real talk.
Let me ask you all a question. What do you think, seriously, what do you think is the effect on the man who is being kissed by dozens of women at a time? No, I'm not talking about sexual. I'm not talking about, some kind of porn fantasy or something like that. No, I'm talking about more spiritual and psychological. What do you think that does to a man? What do you think it incites within him? Think about that for a second.
I'm gonna tell you, to me, it's gonna inspire confidence and ambition.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. You know that I want to speak to that, man. Like women, you truly have the power to build your man up or tear your man down. And what Tunnel Runner was just speaking about was just an example of a bunch of women and probably a lot of black women building this black man up, making him feel good, making him feel loved, making him feel valued and appreciated and respected. Man, my birthday is next week. I turn 35 on April 20th. My woman is taking me, I don't know where we going until I hop on that plane next weekend. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel loved. That makes me feel respected, valued, and appreciated.
Well, I'm gonna say happy early birthday, brother, and enjoy the trip. And if we miss out on you for a couple days, we gonna understand. we gonna understand.
Appreciate it.
Real talk. And I'm gonna say, look, y'all, it's getting rough out here with some of these women. But I can at least say, and y'all, and I'm not really even saying this to advise it, but if I got to pick between the woman who wants to tear me down because she don't think a black man ego should get too high, or I could pick that prostitute. That prostitute ain't gonna have nothing bad to say about me. And that's just real talk, y'all. I may leave and go around the corner, and she may say all kinds of terrible stuff about me. But you know what she's not gonna do? She is not gonna tear me down in front of her. You know, yeah, all that stuff that women say, that nigga breath is stinking, that nigga too short, that nigga too fat, that nigga too ugly, that nigga too whatever, to what anything any woman has ever said about any man. That prostitute ain't gonna say it to you. She gonna wait till you leave if she gonna say it at all. Now, when you compare that to a woman who's supposed to love you, who's supposed to be there for you, and she telling you how you don't amount to nothing, that's why you're in this position now, because you ain't never been nothing. I really should never really talk to you, because there's videos coming out now where you hear women saying all this stuff and they putting it on camera. I don't even get why people putting this on camera. Truth be told, it's to me, I question why people are putting some of the stuff they putting out here on camera. I knew people doing it in their homes because I walk past the homes and hear people yelling, but to put it on camera, crazy.
They can't control themselves. That need for attention overrides any logical thought that they have.
Reset. I was also about to say that's a great idea. It's the Homelander effect. I believe necessarily I can get away with anything.
Yeah.
So why not?
And I got to say, man, the stuff that I've seen women say to man, the prostitute ain't got none of that stuff to say. And I get it, y'all. As men, we don't want the prostitute. We do want a woman, but Just real talk. The prostitute ain't got nothing bad to say to you.
Also, for the last 60 years, they've been told that somebody's supposed to save them. Starting with the Great Society, somebody, some government, some man, some business, some school, somebody is supposed to save them. For about 3+ generations now, somebody's supposed to save them. So a lot of what you're seeing is them glitching from the fact that nobody is saving them.
Mm-hmm. That's a good, strong point. And you know what? Shout out to Compassion Counts. He recently had in the video. You're not gonna insult me into saving you. That's real talk. That's what you're not gonna do. Okay, you're not gonna insult me into saving you. And y'all, and this is why I'm saying I think black men gonna have to rethink this a little bit and focus more on the money. I don't want to spend my money on somebody who's insulting me. I don't want to spend my money on somebody who's talking about me like a dog. I don't want to spend my money on someone trying to embarrass me in front of my friends. I just don't. So I financially can't even get along with a lot of these women because I just don't want to spend my money in certain ways. It is what it is. So we can put the woman to the side. If you got to insult me, I just don't want to spend my money with you. If you got to look down on me, I just don't want to spend my money with you. It just is what it is. You know, if I can't bring you in front of my friends and feel good about the stuff that you're going to say and how you're going to conduct yourself in front of them, I just don't want to spend my money on you. And since it's my money, I'm not. And I think if a lot of black men really start thinking about how they're spending their money, don't spend your money getting stuff that you don't want. That's all I'm really saying, y'all. Why go through the trouble of spending your money on stuff you don't want? Now, if I spend it on the prostitute, she going to give me what I want. Ain't going to be no questions. Ain't going to be no fuss. Ain't going to be no arguments. But if I got to spend it on a woman that I got to argue with every day, I got to spend it on a woman that wants to tell me why she won't have sex with me, I got to spend it on a woman that's always trying to talk down on me in front of anybody I know or people she know, yeah, that don't sound like a good investment to me. So I'd rather remove my money from that situation. If anybody's going through that, I recommend you remove your money from that situation too.
You know, the best way to remove your money from a situation is to remove yourself from the situation. A lot of this black men not attending this social event and that social event and not attending church and not attending dating events and not attending clubs. It's a intuitive self-protective way of doing just what you described, Roger. Because even if most men we're designed to have vulnerability to women. We're designed to protect them, take care of them, etc. So it's just a natural thing. Well, how do you avoid doing that? Now, if they're a strong guy like you, Roger, you know, you can be in the presence of women and just say, no, fuck you, I'm going to dump you, etc., whatever. Most men can't do that. So the best way most men will protect themselves is to just not be around black women, not listen to them, not entertain their presence, not entertain their conversation, which is what much of the younger ones in particular are doing.
Well, hold on, before you say it, I want to say, look, real talk, y'all. The show I'm doing today was not to be quote unquote provocative or anything like that. I think this is just a real question men got to really start asking themselves at this point, based on how much information is publicly being displayed about how black women ain't trying to help a nigga do nothing. How they throw against us. Are you really more valuable than the prostitute at this point? Because if you're not going to be a blessing in my life, sound like it's just easy to go to the prostitute. And I don't want this for black men, and I'm not saying black men should want it, but I do have to put it out there. Man, the way they're presenting themselves, it seems like it's better to just go to work, get paid every couple of weeks, take $100 out, go have some fun with a prostitute, and go on back to work. Now, black women should never be in position that they have to compete with a prostitute But I think we here now. And that's real talk. So y'all, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. So we're gonna go into last statement. So Bronk, you gonna make yours. It's gonna be your last statement. So make it good.
All right. I was just going to speak to this. Uru mentioned, the social events and the dating events that, people have out here now. And I think a lot of young men are starting to kind of recognize what those things are. They're just giant orgies. They're just giant orgies. So I think a lot of men are starting to come to the conclusion, do I go to this giant orgy and pick from these women who I'm going to have to pay some type of money to play with anyways? You're going to have to pay to play. Or do I just go to the professional woman? And I think if you keep account of all your receipts and you run your own financial statements each month and you look at your cash flow statements, your income statements, your balance sheet, and you really look at it logistically, then it might just be better for us to deal with the professional woman. And I'll land my plane on that.
All right, Shark, you ain't said nothing in a while. Are you still there? Are you in the bathroom? Shark, are you still there? Or are you in the bathroom? I'm gonna take it. The Shark in the bathroom, y'all. Yeah, hate to see you in the bathroom, but hey, life calls sometime. All right, Great Black Reset. You got it,
I'm
brother.
present. I'm present, sir. Unfortunately, we've gotten to where this environment is. If you're dating a black woman, you are dating a prostitute. There's no difference. There is no difference. That's the real answer. So save your money. Go to the DR on the weekend. Go to South America on the weekend. Hit up some of these spots. You're gonna get better treatment for a cheaper price. I land my plane there.
All right, Black Guru, I'm gonna give it to you because I want Toya to go last. You got it, Black Guru.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Roger. I hope this went as you expected it to go. Um, you know, depends on what you're trying to do in life. If you want to have fun and go through all the drama and the ups and downs of that the women are surely raised now to give you, then you play these games. You got the bust down, you got the so-called girlfriend, you got you can do all that stuff. But I would say when you put it all together, it's going to be very distractive and it's going to lead to you having a relatively unproductive life in comparison to what you might do otherwise. I said earlier, there's a reason why in many of your quote better or more productive communities, you got wives on one side, you got hookers on the other side, prostitutes on the other side. Leads for very efficient decision making in terms of how you view and deal with women. And I think to a certain degree, if for a man who seeks and wants to be productive, I think the best way he can do that is to identify in which of those groups the women he deal with belong and compel that they operate in the to the strictest extent in either of those groups. You're either going to be a wife, you're going to be held to wifely duties, and we're going to do things now. You can do it formally or do it religiously or et cetera or whatever. But you're going to be a wife to me. You're going to be a wife, or you're going to be a traditional wife, or you're going to be a prostitute. And that's exactly how I'm going to treat you. And now we're not going to do any finessing and pretending and all of that. If I wanted to be a productive young man today, that is the course that I would take. And that ends my closing statement. Thanks again for having me.
Hey, appreciate you. All right, Toya, I wanted you to have the last word on this. What say you, my lady?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, the landscape has solidified the fact that professionals are safer. And as a natural born woman, I feel horrible admitting that. But one thing I'm always going to be is honest, consistent, and encouraging. To that end, I wish you all, and I'm talking to the men, I wish you all a safe place to land and the woman of your choosing, whoever she may be. And I always end my streams by saying peace, ease, and whatever you please. But this is Roger's stream, and he's right. And I'm out.
I appreciate you, Sweet. I appreciate you. Alina, if you can join us after the show, come on back up after the show. Toya, please wait for us. And Inspired Truth, if you can come through, brother. Follow through if you can come. Y'all, it's been a great show if you ask me. I wanted this to be a serious, thought-provoking show for every man. I even want some women to hear this and make a decision. Should we be at a level that we're competing with prostitutes? Because that's where I see black women at this particular point. It's y'all competing with the prostitute, which should be shameful to even have to say. You know, you shouldn't be. I'm supposed to think more of you than a prostitute. I really am. And you know, it should be embarrassing that when you think of a black woman that you're gonna have thoughts that pretty much align with a prostitute, except a worse prostitute, a greedier prostitute, a prostitute with bad service, like bad customer service prostitute. You know, the normal prostitutes, the ones who are professionals, they at least gonna say something nice about me, or they ain't gonna say nothing at all. They're not gonna tear me down. They're gonna be at least respectful to me, and they're gonna give me what I want. And I'm gonna end up paying $100 or less. They cheaper too. So if I can't get no other value out of a woman, and the only thing she has to offer me is a box, like a prostitute, I hate to say it, but the prostitute sound like a better deal. That's terrible, but nobody can fix that for black women but black women. I can't fix what you do. I can only give you a suggestion. So you do what you want with the information. If y'all are new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do this Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Chicago time, not where you happen to live. 9 a.m. Chicago time. We will see y'all next time around. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.